support local. Thanks for supporting Warchant. Thanks for supporting the Jeff Cameron Show. Thanks for being here, being you, listening to the program. We appreciate it a lot. It's been a minute since we've had a win like that it gets to Wednesday. I'm one of those guys. Flush it, Tom. Just flush it. Good and bad. Move it forward. But this one is not that. Still loving the reaction to Florida State, Alabama. I think I'm having an equal parts fun time reliving the game, reminiscing with friends and family and fellow Noles about the game itself, rewatching. I've seen the game now like 5 times. It was on again last night. I was like flipping around. Oh, there it is. Don't mind if I do. Catch some other nuances from this game. So there's that part of it where you're having a lot of fun with it and you say, all right, here you go. Let's just bask. Let's marinate in this for a while. The other part is the reaction. And to watch the mounting concerns for Alabama. What is happening? It is so traditionally true of college football. This isn't a new phenomena. It's just that the phenomena is maybe both more annoying and enjoyable given the number of outlets and cameras and social media sites and websites and podcasts and YouTube channels. And the proliferation of media over time has made the startling reaction to an upset win or loss that much more omnipresent and in your face. And when you're the one who did the winning, it is awfully fun to watch the clutch my pearls reaction. At the same time, when you're on the wrong end, as we were for a lot of last year, it felt like a bit like beating a dead horse. Seems a little much. Never going to stop. We get it. Not good. So you know what Bama's going through, at least in terms of the reaction to a loss. But it is also comical to see people searching far and wide for an explanation. And, I can relate to the Florida State fans in this moment who are like, why can't it just be that we beat their ass? Well, that is a little naive. As much as I would like it to be the case, as much as I wish that was the talking point by everybody who's talking about this game, we can't pretend that Bama hasn't been the preeminent college football program in all of America since 2008. So, it's not surprising that you're going to get a whole lot of what's wrong with Bama. And don't forget, 3 regular season losses a year ago, followed by a bowl loss, the absence of Saban, a new coach coming in, trying to fill in the shoes of a Titan, and then this result. Yeah, it's normal that's going to be a response, if not a little annoying. It is normal. I also like them trying to figure out, well, what do we do with Florida State? What do we do with Florida State? And I get it. Grappling with that question, if you're the national media, would be difficult. I think it's kind of difficult even for us here, Tom, striking the balance of celebration because of a great effort, a well-executed game plan, coaches having their team prepared, players executing said game plan, dominating a game in which you're a 2-touchdown underdog, balancing the right level of praise and satisfaction from that with, well, what does it mean? What can it mean? What does it mean for the games of the future on this schedule? What's it mean in the weeks to come? It's a little difficult. It's a fun task. It's a fun task to try to figure out when you're the victor, though. I'll say that.
Yeah, this is what these next couple of games are about, is you're looking for maturity level, signs of maturity that they can be consistent week to week, that they're buttoned up, that the communication continues to be as solid as it looked in game 1. And you want to see just how much depth you have and how much depth you can cultivate. And then I love how it ramps up for Miami. Even if we didn't win this past week, I had said that I feel like the way this schedule, if you look at Miami as the epicenter game of the season, this could not be better. You get a crash course, then you get a preseason, then you get your tune-up on the road at Virginia, and then you get the crescendo of Miami coming to town. So all of these tests, just because you beat Alabama doesn't change how I'm looking at this particular portion of the schedule. And now with the win, though, you get to learn a little something different, which is, do they read their clippings and mail it in on Saturday and take a lazy win the way that SMU beat East Texas A&M over the weekend? That was not a nice performance by SMU. That was a pretty ugly game played by Jennings, called by Lashley, by all accounts. And I watched 3/4 of it, and then I gave up. I couldn't do it anymore because the result was not in doubt, Jeff. But
yes.
does it look like something where Florida State is building off of last week? And the coaches are speaking about that with consistency, but does the message resonate? And if it does, and if you watch over the next 2 games that they play, that they are professionals and they show up and they compete and then they go play hangman on the sidelines like their 2013 predecessors. Yeah. Then you get really, really excited. But I just can't wait to go on the ride, because in this era of college football, I think ups and downs are going to be expected. In some ways, it'll be like the NFL like that. So when you have it like this, go for it. Embrace it. Enjoy it. And the other thing I'd say is, it was my hope after the snub that perhaps as a fan base we wouldn't crave national praise. You shouldn't. Don't worry about it. You hated him before, so why would you care about what they think now?
I will say it gets easier and easier. Over the years, I've told people that the rankings, as the process by which we decide who makes a playoff or who has a chance to make a playoff anyhow, is it's altered now. And like, for example, I don't know what percentage of the fan base desperately wanted to see the AP poll come out or the coaches poll come out or whatever. Like, when, hey now. Where are we? I don't care if we're 5th or 19th. It's week 1. If you keep winning, you'll be where you need to be. That's especially in a 12-team playoff. Just keep winning. It'll be all right. Like, there was a time, and I'm old enough to remember that time very well. It was kind of fun. It was kind of fun. I mean, you used to wring your hands about these sorts of things because you were jockeying for one of 2 spots. If you were trying to be a national champion, you had to be 1 or 2.
Yes, politicking mattered all the more, and certainly you could say that politicking mattered very much so in the 14 playoff, the last year of it. But here we are now in a position where just go ahead and raise some hell, and then let's see what happens from there. I think it's more fun to make fun of the national media at this point, because we learned what it was more than any other fan base in the history of the game. We've learned what the modern college football media shell game is about.
It's a TV show. It's a TV show. Really, everything about the sport. It's the one real downside of the sport.
Now that you know what Jerry Springer's show's about, why would you take it seriously? Be like, Jerry was mean today. Like, who cares? It's Jerry Springer. Just go take care of your own business, and let's be proud of our guys.
They'll have to move forward and look to be buttoned up and play well without a guy that I think is one of their biggest leaders and most important players. A guy whose block has now been seen on loop by most of us in this fan base, and many citing Alabama's problems. And that is tight end Randy Pittman, who will be out for this game, likely the following game. If you're being careful, and I would be, he doesn't really need to be out on the field at any point in the next 2 weeks. I'm not going to say you won't need him for Virginia. Let's wait and see what Virginia is, and let's see how we play without Randy and all of those things. But you're right. We're all sort of looking towards that big Miami game. I don't want to just overlook Virginia. I don't think it's a great Virginia team. But obviously these next 2 games are not only imminently winnable, they're games you couldn't lose, I don't think. I mean, I know ever since Jacksonville State, we hesitate to say those kinds of things. And you go 2-10, it'll make everybody paranoid about any game. But I think if Florida State cares to be there, and every indicator is that they care to be here, unlike last year, then you're not going to have a chance to lose these next 2 games. It's an opportunity for a lot of other guys to get experience, to get playing time, to get reps, to get better. Randy is a rock on this offense, and we called it going in that was a guy Gus really felt it was important to bring over from UCF because he's so physical, and he kind of acts as an identity. There's a part of me that would say that he, in some ways, and it's early in his time at Florida State. But the way that the other players talk about him, the way the coaches have talked about him, and the way we just watched him play, and of course you can go back and see him play at UCF. He was this way as well there. He is the offensive equivalent to Earl Little Jr. on the other side right now. Guys that set the tone because of how physical and how hard they play. The get you some what for player nominations you want me to do this week and every week from this point forward, some of you have suggested. He's going to win it every week. He's going to win it a lot. He's going to win it because that's who he is. Hate to hear of his injury. This is the quote from Mike Norvell. Randy Pittman will be out this week, probably here for the next couple. We'll see what it looks like. He was dealing with an injury there early in camp and was able to kind of manage that for the Alabama game. But he'll be out for it'll be a short period of time. So he caught himself, Norvell went on to say that, look, Pittman worked through that preseason injury and played at a high level. Quote, he's a really incredible competitor. You felt his physicality, had a couple of big catches there throughout, kind of putting us in position in 2 drives. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he sure plays like it. He's big enough. He's not small, and he hits. And there's a lot to him. So this is where playing that Alabama game first, which had a lot of us wondering, why are you doing this? Well, we thought that because we're playing them after going 2-10. And the last thing you needed to do in the mind of many was to face a giant in the game when you're struggling to pull yourself up from the depths of a real low time in your program's history. And you're right to feel that way. You're right to be a little concerned about a particular matchup when you're not at your best. You know, that's all of us in every walk of life. You're not at your best and you got a big presentation to make it work. Not ideal. So, you know, you worry about these things. But when you ace said test and you pass it with flying colors and you give yourself margin for error and you give yourself opportunities to play, you know, maybe average and get by or perform, you know, at a middling level at your job because you've aced the big presentation. It feels good to have that egg in the basket. It feels good to have that coin to know, all right, look, we played that game. We weren't real sure about that. If some of you were, I'll give you guys the few of you that screamed it from the mountaintops that we were going to beat Alabama. But the vast majority did not think we were going to win that game, and I understand why. I didn't either. But we did win that game, and we won that game convincingly, and you've got 2 really glorified scrimmages here, 2 great opportunities to get a lot of experience for kids, to get a lot of rest for those that need it too. These 2 games now, Tom, because we're invested again and really excited about the prospects of what this team could be, these become interesting games, whereas before, just like the Alabama game was perceived a certain way, these games were perceived a certain way. These were perceived as sort of a, let's take a breath. You don't feel like traveling to Tallahassee 3 weeks in a row? You don't have to, because the next 2, you know, people were going to take a day off. They were going to do whatever they're going to do. One more beach day. I dare say a lot more people are interested in watching these games play out because the team is so invested and made you so proud and are physical and do play fast and do care for each other, the program and the result, that now you want to see how many kids are going to play. You played 25 kids on defense alone against Alabama. How many play this week? How many different looks, different guys do you see on offense this week? How many of the quarterbacks do we see this week and next week? How many of the other receivers that didn't get run maybe against Alabama get run this week? How many carries does Cromagh get instead of parsing them as they did last week through veteran players? You feel a little less concerned about the mentality or the wherewithal of a young player in a game like this. How many reps does he get? It just becomes infinitely more intriguing. And again, all because of the way you assess Florida State currently, the way Florida State played that game, and the byproduct of that is, again, all of a sudden folks that were thinking about, maybe I won't go, they're coming to Tallahassee this week and they want to go.
Well, and what is it that you wish to work on? Because you can see in the offensive game plan how they call the game, what it is they think they need to get better at. You know, last week for SMU, watching against East Texas A&M, the first 2 or 3 drives, you're watching the SMU offensive line surge East Texas A&M 4 and 5 yards into the second level towards the secondary. And then Jennings turned it down by opting for quick outlet passes on RPOs, and Lashley's calling end arounds and perimeter plays and getting, I don't know if he's trying to put stuff on film for the Baylor game this week. I don't know what they were doing, but they got stuck in neutral. They had something in front of them that if they just decided to be tough, think Florida State, Memphis first couple of plays last year, like, well, that looks like that's repeatable. And then they totally get away from it. Next thing you know, the kid throws an interception in the end zone. They get called for a couple of holdings. They get behind the chains, and it's 21-3, and the game's stuck in third gear. Does Gus approach this game trying to work on some tricks and put some things on film? Or does Gus look at this as an opportunity to, if you just look at the running backs and the carries and the yards, we were okay. Right around 4 yards a carry against Alabama. You'll never turn that down. That's a good number. But let's go get Usman 18 carries. Let's give Gavin 12 carries. Let's see if we can get another one of those guys in the fold because Roydell's not going to be available. Let's see what they can do. Is he a straight ahead approach, Gus, this week? Or does he try to do a lot of different things? And then you've got to weigh into it. Jake Rizzi's most definitely going to get in this game this week. He didn't last week, but he's their top Swiss Army knife. And then you've got to get other offensive linemen in there. You got to get Landon Thomas reps because Randy Pittman's not going to be available. Amari Williams, Biscuit. There's a whole lot of boxes you could check, but how does Gus prioritize it? And that'll be fun to see.
Well, I'll be very fascinated to see because, Tom, you can probably do whatever it is you want to do from that list, but you also want to continue to establish a certain identity, and Gus has a certain identity that when things are playing the way that he'd like them to play out, they're going to run it 60-40, 65-35 sometimes. So that's who we are. And we got to perfect that. As in his mind, I would be thinking, we've got to perfect that. This is a chance for more reps to run a new system for most of these guys and to get better at it so that when we play Virginia, when we face Miami, we're even more refined than we are currently. And yet, I would argue that perhaps in the next two games, you would want to hyper-focus on the thing that will not be your strength most weeks against light competition, meaning the passing game. And we saw that in this Alabama game. I'm nitpicking a little bit here because we basked in the glory the last couple of days, but they weren't on time in the passing game. Totally normal. It's week one. I mean, I'm not saying it was a disaster. They made enough plays in the passing game to make Alabama have to play honest. But you're going to need to be able to throw the ball, and Mike's even alluded to it a little bit here. There are going to be games where you have to throw it 25, 30 times. And in those games, you're going to have to be more proficient at it. You're going to have to be better at it. And there's a lot of areas that could use improvement after week one. The beauty of a win like that is what coaches always talk about. We won the game decisively, made enough mistakes to teach off that film. To be able to say, look, we did a lot of things well, pleased with this, good job, but guys, we're going to have to get better if we want to get to where we want to go. And you win a game like this, it changes your outlook as to where that place may be. So we got to get a lot better here, and here. And so I wonder, to your point, how does he call it? It's because if you say you want to get better in the passing game, well, when are you throwing it around the lot? After Tommy's been pulled because you're up 20? What's the point of that? It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Feeling sluggish? Wake up your body the right way with Vigor. The all-new Vigor Cold Plunge Tub from Hot Spring Spas is now available exclusively at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Boost circulation, reduce inflammation, sharpen your focus, and more. Elite athletes do it daily, and now you can too. Experience the power of cold therapy in your own home. Come see the Vigor Cold Plunge, available only at Pinch a Penny on Capitol Circle Northeast and Greer Road.
For most families, your home is your biggest investment. That's why Joel Higgins built ACL Home Inspections, providing you thorough, precise, and efficient information with same-day, easy-to-read digital reports.
Probably one of the most common things that we find is a water heater drain line. It's meant to be plumbed a certain way, and a lot of the times in a retrofit situation where they replace the water heater is a different size. Lots of times they'll say, I had no idea, and it's the home that they live in, and they walk past these things every day. They're not even aware that it's a danger, much less that it's even there.
Protect your family's biggest investment. Call ACL.
Having your HVAC system operating properly is probably the biggest thing for high temperature events. So I always recommend a service agreement with a local HVAC company that will come twice a year and clean and service your HVAC system. And they can spot problems.
Call today, 850-312-8919.
Services, Compass just a call away. 222-7722. AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722. Parker Services, Compass just a call away.
Is your home ready for anything? At Parker Services AC and Electrical, we do more than just keep you cool. We keep your whole home running smoothly. From AC maintenance and duct cleanings to whole home generator installations, we've got everything you need for comfort and reliability. Join our Peak Performance membership to keep your HVAC system in top shape and catch issues before they turn into costly repairs. And with a reliable generator, you'll never be left in the dark again. Call Parker Services today, where comfort is just a call away.
Parker Services, comfort just a call away.
Florida license number CMC 050334 and EC 1301240.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Again, what do you work on this week? I like being in a position to where we're going to watch a game and watch a team that we think is in a position to go win a football game fairly comfortably. Look, I'm not saying that if you go out and you play god awful and you have no focus that you can't find yourself in a tough bind or a situation that you don't like. I'm not saying that we're above and beyond that. I do think though that it's likely. See, again, the big takeaway, there were a lot of takeaways from Alabama, and almost all of them were really good. In fact, I can't really think of any negative takeaways from the Florida State-Alabama game in terms of the players, the coaching. There's some execution issues. It's always going to happen. The other team's on scholarship too. They're trying hard. Mistakes are going to be made or moments in time where you lose a matchup. But big picture stuff, all of the important questions were answered on Saturday.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, they really were.
As you said that, I was like, all right, let's try an exercise. And I'm racking my brain.
No, nothing that doesn't fall under the purview of a football game and the ebbs and flows that the other team's trying to. And I don't, you'll hear people say sometimes when they're watching a game, you could be at a bar watching a game, you could be in the stands watching a game, it could be wherever, you could be at the game. And you'll hear, how did he get to be so open? Well, there's a lot of ways that a guy gets to be so open. And they don't all involve a mistake by the coaching staff or an inability by a player to recognize. It could just be it got schemed open. You're in the wrong defense. You made the wrong call against an OC that got you. He got you, and he's being paid handsomely to get you.
I think it's also important to say, too, that relative to our expectations of this team, now we're looking at the upper end of the expectations.
Right.
But this isn't a team that when they roll out onto the field, you think it's going to rival 2013 Florida State. Like, for example, when we talked about the Buccaneers in 2020 and 2021, I was a nitpicking Jesse for that group because when you get Tom Brady.
Well, it's the comparing and the contrasting against the goal of winning a Super Bowl.
And you've got Gronk and Sue and everybody comes together because they're all going for it. That team is judged in a very different way. Now, get to the other side of the Miami game and beat everybody's ass, and we'll change that conversation for this Florida State team. But for now, like, you could say that Tommy Castellanos as a thrower left some things on the table on Saturday, even only in 14 attempts. But I don't believe him to be Jameis Winston as a passer.
Yeah.
Tommy was Tommy because he added some things for you on the ground. I think that's going to be the give and take with him all season long. If we're winning games, it's going to be, man, I wish we hit that throw, or I wish that was a little bit cleaner. But then you have to watch 4 and 5 plays and say, well, good God, there's nothing there. And he makes it a gain of 6. That's just Tommy being Tommy. I think he was as advertised on Saturday, which was decent enough in passing, didn't put the ball in danger, which was great. That's a check. That's a positive. But then on the ground, you're like, boy, that's hell to prepare for. And I'm sure that's demoralizing to a defense. So if we were judging this thing as we expect this team to go wire to wire in 12-0, maybe you might have some things to nitpick. But for crying out loud, given what we thought the team was, there are no negatives from that game.
Yeah, no, I didn't think so. I looked at this game now. Well, I watched it and I've gone through it with a fine-tooth comb. I really don't. There isn't anything to
other than the muff, of course, but we talked about that.
Yeah, and that's a special teams play that seems to be rather persistent. But again, offensively, defensively, this is why you go into a game feeling good that the requisite level of energy, focus, intensity is going to be there that would allow you to win a football game comfortably like this, where you're so heavily favored and you're outmatching, outgunning, outmanning the opposing team. That's why it's fun to get into the overriding philosophy now of how you're going about the business of preparing others, playing others against the backdrop of a lot of things. Preparing for a game against Virginia, preparing for a game against Miami, preparing for the reality of having to satiate whatever the expectation is of a high-profile player on your roster who's being paid and would like to get in games. And so you have to figure, well, how much do I want to play this guy? We've moved beyond the years in which you really spend a lot of time wringing your hands about whether or not to redshirt somebody. I think for the most part, we operate in the modern era of college football now with the system being the way that it is is such that you just do not worry about redshirts. If a guy can play, you play him because he could be out the door tomorrow. You don't have time to be screwing about redshirting people. He can play him. Now, if you get the benefit by, he could take week 7, that's still a possibility. And this guy's feeling good about being here and you're not getting any indicator that he's frustrated or what. All right, maybe we want to redshirt you, Johnny. But early on, you don't operate in that with that being a goal, I don't think, anymore. Not the way it used to be, anyhow. I can tell you that. And so, I am curious to see how they balance that, because you do need to further perfect the system you're running. You've only played one game in it. The starters in that system need their reps too for timing and for merging, offensive lines. We talk about that cohesiveness. These are things that are gained by playing the game, by what Gus Malzahn would talk about, wanting to scrimmage more and more and more. Well, this is more than a glorified scrimmage, but it's something akin to that. How long do the starters stay out there? What's the philosophy? You're guarding against injury, but you can't play scared. The system's the system. I go back to you and me talking to, that year, Deshaun Watson was running for Clemson early on, and I asked one of the guys that covers Clemson. What's, gosh, you got him running in games in which you're up by 30. He's like, the offense is the offense. They're going to run the offense. That was a fair answer, but it's a tough balance. How much do you want Tommy to get hit?
I would imagine in this game, and if Clemson was playing East Texas A&M when Deshaun Watson was their guy, I don't know. I mean, there might be a couple of design runs because they see that the ends are crashing down because they don't think the quarterback is going to be turned loose in this situation.
Right.
They know what you know.
You got to keep him honest. So
you got to keep him honest. Yeah. The devastating moment in 2023 was that Jordan felt the need to run because you came out flat against a team such as this. And I think that might be something that's in the back of Mike Norvell's mind and some of the coaches that are still here from 2023 that we ain't laying any eggs now. Let's not do that. Let's not put ourselves in a situation where we're going to embarrass ourselves for the better part of a quarter and then we feel like we need to press. So that element is now in Mike Norvell's memory as well. So that could be something that leads to a bit of a different motivation and or a message of him walking in the offensive room and saying, I know you want to work on things. Let's do that at 14-0, okay? And we'll keep everybody out there an extra drive or two so that you can work on things. But I want the simple, because what that tape tells me against SMU is if you run it right up the middle, you can name your rushing totals for the day. So let's establish that. Try not to use Tommy's legs, and then let's get out there and start throwing the ball and chucking it around.
It gets weird. You can't really profess this before a game because it's even more disrespectful. But you almost want to say to the coach, hey, man, this is going to kind of go opposite of what would be the norm in the situation. Just understand what I'm saying here, sir. And that's your hint to him that in the second half, I may be slinging it around the lot to get better in the passing game and to get more receivers out here. And sorry if we're already up 35, I got to do this. Because the first half ought to be Cromwell right up the gut. This ought to be this offensive line manhandling people with Ousmane Cromwell getting 12 carries in the first half. Let him get going. Let's see what that is. And I think you could get away with that, and you could execute that, and you could dominate with that, and you're up big. But I do have to work on the timing and the rhythm in this passing game. And I'll tell you something else that might raise an eyebrow, either from somebody else or our own fan base. There's no guarantees that if you're up big at halftime that I don't come out with Tommy slinging it. Tommy, not the backup quarterback. Tommy, my starting receivers. Let's go. We're playing football here. It's week 2.
Hey.
It's week 2. You can't play scared. We got to get the timing down. Deuce had, 2 catches? You had one from Squirrel, a big one, but it was one. You really didn't incorporate. Javion Boggs dropped the one he could have had. It should have been a touchdown.
His only target.
Yeah, yep. But, I mean, you got to get that going. And so I can't worry about people's feelings. Now, it's a fine line. I might do 2 drives like that and then get everybody out, but
then you might want to chuck it with Sperry.
Well, you damn right I want to chuck it with Sperry. I mean, again, I don't worry about
and you'll run
him's feelings. Yeah, you will run him, but yeah.
What's the line from Mad Men?
Right.
That's what the money's for.
Yes.
East Texas A&M.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
You're catching a check here.
It's also a wonderfully delivered line.
Yeah.
When she's bitching and that's what the money's for. Yes. It's beautiful. Good call. But honestly, that's where we're at. I mean, kind of makes me smile thinking about the idea of beating somebody's ass 70-10. But
this is where Gus will do that too.
Good.
Gus is interested in that. So are we. We want max plays. That this might be one where tempo happens too. You got to work on the tempo. There's another layer to it. I thought tempo was time released this past weekend against Alabama. It was there, but it was off of big plays. And obviously, if you score a blow on first down, you want to get that tempo going. But you got to get that rolling now, and this is a good opportunity for that. So you're trying to get your receivers more involved. Obviously, you want to get Chroma going, more reps for the first-team offensive line, tempo. Let's get Tommy's arm and his eyes in places that they need to be so we can train him up for the roadie at Virginia, for Miami. There's a lot to get done here. You could see how it turns from feels like a rocking chair game to, good God, my checklist is 40 bullets long, and we got to try to get as many of these checked as we possibly can.
But they're exciting for us as fans to consume that and to see a lot of these players that we didn't get to see and to see others that we did watch but didn't get as much participation and or action with the football in their hands as we thought, or defensively. Just how deep are we going to run in that secondary with those linebackers? Speaking of getting things done, my man Shannon Young does that. He of Cross Country Mortgage. Shannon, unwavering commitment to you, helping his fellow Noles and non-Noles, I might add, get the best loan options to buy their dream home. He is a good friend, reliable, intelligent, hardworking, relentless, and goal-oriented, now in 7 states, Florida, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. Better rates, better options, stronger support, faster response. Find out today what others have found out a lot in the last year. And, I dare say, a bunch of calls this past week I was alerted to. Nicely done, boys and girls. Keep it going. Loansforknowles.com. Loansforknowles.com.
Your local news now.
3 people are in stable condition. Shot in the hand. Nearly 7 months later, a man was shot and killed after allegedly trying to break into a home on the property. This is Rachel Anay with Rural Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mainly clear skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 90. Winds out of the east around 5 miles per hour. Lows level off around 68. Tonight, clear skies. Ample sunshine expected tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 92. Dry Friday and Saturday under partly cloudy skies with highs in the mid-90s. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 83 degrees.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy?
I was just thinking, they never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
And you still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You know what's funny, Tom? Just a quick aside in the world of college football. And by the way, we got the NFL's return tomorrow, which I can't wait for, and the wagers shall flow on a Redemption Thursday.
Feels so sudden after having a Labor Day weekend of college football. Like, oh, God, it's the NFL.
I'll tell you what I did do in the offseason is as soon as the line came up, I took the Eagles and gave the points. I didn't need to wait and see what the Cowboys were going to do. We're going to go ahead and lay those points. Just like I told you, the New Orleans Saints are on the clock. The New Orleans Saints are on the clock. Start figuring out who you want to draft, New Orleans. It's for giggles this year, this football season for the Saints, because you don't have really anything that you need. So start gauging what you want in the draft because you're on the clock. Just as soon as I said that, I said the same thing about the Eagles and the Cowboys. I went, oh, I'm taking the Eagles for that first game and laying the points. So I don't care what it is. What's the total? What do we got? So early on, you could have gotten it for like 7.5. I think it's up to 9 now.
Ooh, really?
Cowboys suck. What do we forget it? This is I mean, my goodness gracious.
Interesting. I do want to see how the Philadelphia Eagles defense looks with all of the pieces that they lost, because you could have a situation with a couple of star receivers and Dak that you get into a shootout, final score 35-31, Dallas covers.
We would be fine with me. That's good. Show me all kinds of reasons that those two teams don't need to be considered to be in the way of the mighty Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom. That's fine with me. Eliminate yourselves early on. That's okay.
Yo.
I wanted to read you something I read this morning over a cup of coffee, and it just had me chuckling. And I wanted you to enjoy my joy and feel that same joy. I went to the Charlotte Observer because I had failed to go to the Charlotte Observer after the ass kicking that North Carolina took when, in fact, they had told everybody, Belichick and his brain trust, promising the 33rd NFL franchise. Probably not what you do. And I thought, I wonder what the locals there at North Carolina are thinking about old Bill Belichick. And, listen, I said it on the show on Monday when we did the show, or yesterday on the bonus hour, whichever it was. What's Bill Belichick, 72? I think he's 72, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Here's the thing, man. There's young 72, there's old 72. And before that game even kicked off, when we saw my man looking so beleaguered, and he's always looked beleaguered, but this is that hunched over, fat, weathered, beleaguered, don't want to be here, I'm stealing your money, 72, as the whole place is electric with all the lights and the fire, and they've got everybody who's ever done anything in their life at North Carolina on the sidelines or in the box, including Michael Jordan, Mia Hamm, Lawrence Taylor, coked out of his mind, ready for the Tar Heels to get it on, allegedly. Anyhow, all of that, right? And then they cut. Is Bill sprinting out of that tunnel with a little what for? Nope. Bill's a little confused with a handler showing him the sidelines. I thought, that ain't good. That's not good. Bill, you got to have a little bit more investment here. Anyhow, North Carolina paid $10 million for Bill Belichick. And the way the article reads, they got sold a bill of goods. The students had already given up by the third quarter, right after the defense had quit. That's how the article begins.
Oh, it's true. That touchdown, the end zone was empty,
buddy.
First play, third quarter.
Quote, there are a lot of coaches who could have gotten hosed 48-14 by Texas Christian. Notice he wrote Texas Christian, not TCU. That's well played, sir, to make your point. Well played. 48-14 by Texas Christian on Labor Day for a lot less than what North Carolina spent for Bill Belichick and his sons and all of the other cronies. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. He's about Lombardi and all the others.
This guy's been waiting.
He wasn't buying it. We're better than what we were tonight, Coach Belichick said. We have to show that, prove it. Nobody's going to do it for us. We have to do it for ourselves. Oh, you could hear the laughter from Raleigh, where one imagines another ACC football coach with his feet up and a cigar lit and a red Solo cup full of the good stuff as he cackled his way through the second half. You could hear it from across the border at Clemson and from wherever Mac Brown and Larry Fedora are now, and from Chestnut Hill to Coral Gables. TCU looked every bit like an established football program that knows what it's doing, maybe not at its peak, but still having its way with a football stew, a bunch of parts and pieces thrown into a pot to simmer in hopes of some magical flavoring. This is beautiful. There's more. Every now and again, I'll find something else to pull from this article that I read this morning over coffee. But that's how I started my day, and it was glorious. That's the beginning of the article. Like, my man is pissed, and I haven't had a chance to go back and see our boys at AL.com. He couldn't complain about DeBoer's dress.
No, but
he was not shabbily attired.
That column does exist. We were tagged in it amongst the many things that happened.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't click it yet, but yeah.
All right, I'll find it during the break.
Sorry, guy. This is, I think it was 2 days ago. It might have come in. It was like, hey, your boy's back at it.
The thing is, he's got a reason to be back at it. I understand, but at the same time, last year he just took a shot if the guy's hair wasn't cut short enough or the shirt didn't meet a standard. Now he's got 31-17 and hey man, they don't look right. You can start to talk about the football. You don't have to talk about the shoes. You can talk about the actual games.
Oh, it looked like we had passed a virus to them before the season started from the low virus that we had in Tallahassee in 2024. There are plenty of instances, and people were calling it out in real time, and then you see some all 22 about it. But the old joggy jog, the old catch and blocks, the old there he goes. Sorry, I wasn't ready for that. In the first quarter of this game, in the first quarter of the football game, second quarter.
Yeah.
The Danzy touchdown has 3 dudes either out of position or loafing or a combination of the two.
Also underestimating the speed, though.
That's a 7-7 ball game.
Yeah, no, not ideal.
That's akin to Mike Norvell being down 7-0 in the second quarter against BC and going.
With the look?
Like looking into the heavens.
My guy who wrote this piece for the Observer noted what I noted differently, but he basically said, Belichick pledged a new paradigm and delivered a debacle. Talked about the befitting of a man of his stature. Belichick was escorted. 3 state troopers and a campus cop as they came onto the field. He's right. It was dumb. It was dumb. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Run out of the tunnel with your team. Get it together here. He was like, oh, shelter me from these lunatics and all of their expectations. It was just comical to watch that play out. Goes on to say he had a security detail bigger than the governor's, even though they've won as many games as the governor.
And remember, this is the crown jewel of Power 2 expansion is North Carolina. What a great optic. At least their basketball program's kicking ass.
Well, and remember the fight internally that was revealed when we sued the ACC. And then Carolina's inner circle with their emails, some power brokers, some actually associated with the university, some just highfalutin alumni. There was this idea that, we shouldn't or we ought not necessarily put our eggs into the football basket. There was pushback by some. They're like, we're basketball. Why is all this money going over there to Bill Belichick and his staff in this football program? They were in essence saying, we've never been good at football. Let's stay really good at basketball. And then the other side was going, that ain't going to pay the bills. We got to get good at football, guys.
Yeah, they had a guy on their board of trustees who was with us, and then Bubba Cunningham, who was against us.
Right.
And Cunningham was saying the barking and the biting and all that nonsense. Well, here you go. You're going to get a couple extra bucks with people watching the car wreck that is Chapel Bill. You're going to get some TV ratings dollars from the success initiatives from the ACC. Have you noticed, too, that the national media is now saying that, it wouldn't surprise me if the SEC and the Big Ten begin to siphon off different dollar amounts for based on television ratings? That seems like something that won't be the only of its kind with the ACC. Yeah, man, I thought we said so in March. I know Andy Staples pushed back on that like it's something that will never happen, but I find it fascinating.
I brought it up in that interview, suggested that it could get very interesting. Andy, who I do respect, pushed back on that and didn't think it would happen.
Said never.
You and I disagreed. I disagreed with him at the time. I disagree now. May not matter because it may be that we're all one here real soon anyhow. But I thought they're not going to watch that play out and say, oh, wait a minute. F Vanderbilt, F Purdue.
Right.
F Rutgers.
We're Ohio State.
Yeah, F Mississippi State.
We're 0-1 Alabama.
We Georgia.
Deserve more.
We're Georgia. We're whatever. LSU, come on. So I did wonder about that, and I do wonder about that. But not enough to get bogged down. I care about us putting our best foot forward, continued the rest of this year, so that we're in the proper position that we need to be.
Yes. Put it into a place where people around the country have to bend the knee. That's got to be the attitude. Is don't worry about.
We got the league to bend the knee already.
Yes, that's correct. And it was well done, well executed. And that's a nice middle ground step before we get where we need to go. But in terms of on the field, do this again against Miami. Do this again.
Well,
and let people come along for the ride. and maybe we'll let them on the bandwagon, but let them come along for the ride.
It gets fascinating. It gets really fascinating. That win on Saturday changes both the fan base's expectation, what the national media may say or not say about us. That's fine, whatever it might be. But internally, like if you think about it here, Tallahassee, you think about this show, you think about Florida State fans, you think of boosters and alumni, you think about coaches and players, you think about the crooks of Florida State football now. All of it has come together to say, what's possible? What's possible is that you play in a massive tilt against a hated and longtime rival in a few weeks, positioned to suddenly have a very different conversation based on the result of that game.
I think it's fair to say and fair to expect that we will be out for blood for those 60 minutes. And that place is going to be exactly like it was this past Saturday, which is an atmosphere you won't soon forget.
Yeah, definitely. It was beautiful.
The question is, how do we look between now and then? Because that's going to happen. Now, I don't know that we're going to win the football game, but what I'm saying is the effort, the intensity, all that stuff, it's going to be there. How mature are we this weekend, the game after, and then the roadie at Virginia? Those are the questions.
Yeah, the hard part is we talk about the players' reps, the depth chart, run-pass ratios, refining expertise within systems, intensity, all of the things. But you really don't get a better test and focus of what you've learned and what you've improved until you face Virginia. That Virginia game is going to matter a lot, even though our focus is on Miami. The Virginia game is going to be big. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barano Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's not just a drink, it's a vibe. Cool off all summer long with bold and beautiful cocktails from Café de Martín. Try the stunning berry champagne with flowers on top, a refreshing pineapple coconut margarita, and the all-new tamarindo sour, or our spicy cantarito. Available Tuesday through Friday for just $12.50. Take a trip to Peru this summer at Café de Martín in the Esposito Shopping Center. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
When it's time to honor a life well lived, trust Cornerstone Memorials. Experts in creating meaningful memorials with generations of care and craftsmanship. We help you create a lasting tribute to your loved ones. Cornerstone Memorials creates custom designed headstones, mausoleums, detailed stone engraving, and more. Visit cornerstonememorials.org or call today to speak with a compassionate expert. Cornerstone Memorials, honoring life and preserving legacy.
Tired of watching baseball score updates on your phone? Get off the bench and head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is your home for all MLB games in-state or nationwide. Enjoy the coldest drinks, Tallahassee's best wings, and watch your team in crystal clear comfort. And if you'd like to compete, come by Tuesday nights for CP Trivia and Thursday nights for Beer Bingo, where you can walk home with cold, hard cash. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Greta, Tallahassee.
Your
Sports Flash Update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers giving a contract extension to Luke Gedeke. That's according to a report from the Tampa Bay Times, a 4-year extension. So he is locked in through the 2029 season. Buccaneers are in pretty good shape when it comes to their tackles, as left tackle Tristan Wirfs also under contract through 2029. Buccaneers open up their season on Sunday against the Falcons. Also on Sunday, the Jaguars are going to host Carolina, and the Dolphins are getting right for a game against the Colts. In baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays, they went over the Mariners yesterday 6-5. They've won 5 straight to get back to 500 at 69-69, while the Marlins lose to the Nationals at 5-2. Each of those series are set to continue today. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale. Up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
For most families, your home is your biggest investment. That's why Joel Higgins built ACL Home Inspections, providing you thorough, precise, and efficient information with same-day, easy-to-read digital reports.
Probably one of the most common things that we find is a water heater drain line. It's meant to be plumbed a certain way, and a lot of the times in a retrofit situation where they replace the water heater is a different size. Lots of times they'll say, I had no idea, and it's the home that they live in, and they walk past these things every day. They're not even aware that it's a danger, much less that it's even there.
Protect your family's biggest investment. Call ACL.
Having your HVAC system operating properly is probably the biggest thing for high temperature events. So I always recommend a service agreement with a local HVAC company that will come twice a year and clean and service your HVAC system. And they can spot problems.
Call today, 850-312-8919.
Budget Blinds at Tallahassee is your local window covering experts. They do it all: blinds, shades, drapery, shutters, even home automation. And they'll be there with you from the design to the measuring to the installation. Budget Blinds is with you every step of the way.
Hello, I'm Gary, the local owner of Budget Blinds at Tallahassee. Let us help you with your unique window treatment needs. Call us at 668-4835 for a free in-home consultation, or find us online at budgetblinds.com/Tallahassee.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
as one might expect. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. And, yeah, man, it's funny. If there's a giddiness that comes with a win like that lasts into the middle of the week. And it happened to be a holiday weekend. Now, we worked on Monday. But even still, working on Monday, Tom, I feel like this week is already kind of moving. We got NFL football tomorrow, some college games. You got the big weekend coming up here with more games. And because we're playing a game in which we're heavily favored and should take care of business, you're starting to set up your weekend about certain games and certain places you need to be to watch. And it's just glorious.
It really is. I think, obviously, the headline for me on Saturday would be USF in Florida at 4:15. So that's the one. There's a couple of games this week at night that are okay, and they might be interesting because they all can be interesting.
Sure.
For obvious reasons.
You can make them interesting, I tell you.
But we're in a noon window this week, and I would argue 2 of the top 5 most interesting games this weekend are also in the noon window, one being the Cy-Hawk Trophy game.
There it is.
And then one being Illinois and Duke. I find that to be a fascinating game, probably a race to 20 points.
Over under at 49.5, sir. I'm going under with you on that.
Agreed.
I thought that was fascinating as well. Don't overlook on the great CW network at noon, Baylor SMU. No, for real.
The Tom Brenneman special.
Yeah. Filled with hatred. For anybody that's not like him. Now, that said, I want to watch Baylor SMU.
Yes, SMU looked like ASS this past weekend.
I get it. It's early. I'm not worried about
It's a 3.5 point spread. Well, I'm just saying
2.5. SMU's favorite.
It's down to 2.5.
2.5.
Oh,
yeah.
buddy. Okay. I think people are understanding what's going on here.
There's a little Virginia NC State action at noon on Saturday as
really?
well. Yes, that is.
God,
and I want to.
it.
Yeah, there is.
I wanted to watch that. Well, I'll watch it on demand. I'll tape it.
We're doing the schedule game. My beloved East Tennessee State Buccaneers on the road in Knoxville. Volunteer Navy rolling up.
That's at noon?
3:30.
Okay. That's at least one to keep an eye on because you might have some addition by subtraction energy going on at Tennessee. Watch out for that quarterback. Not the Nico stuck in the middle express. This might actually be something with Tennessee this year.
Let's hope not. Let's hope the Buccaneers rise up. Shock the fine folks at Neyland. We have Ole Miss Kentucky this weekend. We have Oklahoma State, Oregon. Oregon's going to house that ass.
Kentucky, Ole Miss is
in Eugene.
That's a night game, correct? 7:30?
3:30, sir. 3:30.
Oh, man. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I was trying to find the games that, our game may preclude you from watching.
So
or at least portions of it.
For all of my Lane Kiffin, hemming, and hawing, he usually handles Kentucky just fine.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
4:15 is the South Florida game of
go.
which you speak. And I do want to see that game. Look what South Florida did in not just beating Boise State, but beating that ass. Is made sure that Florida and then subsequently Miami button up their chin straps. They know they got to play a game. They got to play a real game. Now, they may just have the depth of talent, a greater depth of talent to just wear USF down and maybe just make some plays because they have better athletes. But they're going to be in a football game, and that's a well-coached South Florida team. I brought that up last year. I felt like they were ascending. I liked their coach, and I was wondering what that USF team would look like. I bet on them to beat Boise. And now that they won that game, they have everybody's attention. Brutal way to start the year if you USF. Boise State, Florida, and Miami. Okay. But it makes the conference games for them seem rather easy, and maybe they'll win their first ever conference championship. I mean, there is that.
Just pulling up their schedule now to see if they get a break after that.
Well, they do. The whole conference is a break after that.
It is, but yeah, they'll play South Carolina State, then get a bye. So they do have a chance to collect themselves.
Yeah, gather. We've got not a lot from there. I would be curious, though. North Carolina takes on Charlotte that evening.
I wish that was the Richmond game, or else I'd really be like, hang on a minute.
I don't know. Yeah, the big game on Saturday, at least from a name standpoint, is Michigan and Oklahoma. And I would tell you, and I think this is fascinating.
Yeah, is that in name only, or do you think it's actually a good game?
No, I think it's a good game. And John Mateer coming over. There's an article today, and it's funny that this is about Oklahoma. Now, we know why, but the same exact thing was being asked here in Tallahassee as was being asked in Oklahoma. The headline reads, Tom, Oklahoma Sooners pin hopes on new coach QB to transform offense. And it gets into, can Oklahoma import an entirely new offensive philosophy with a bunch of new offensive starters? Can you, after last year's disastrous offensive campaign for Oklahoma and head coach Brent Venables, who's a defensive guy, could he find a way to import QB OC in a make-or-break 2025 season and get a much different result? How quickly can Mateer and Arbuckle restore an offense that ranked 97th in scoring, 113th in total offense a year ago? These are the dastardly numbers that compare alongside Florida State's woeful offense. And you think about it, right? OC, Gus Malzahn, Castellanos comes over, along with importing of so many other players. Turning around the entirety of an offense is what they're attempting to do at Oklahoma and Norman. That's what we're doing here in Tallahassee.
Dastardly is an underused word in our culture. That's a good use.
Well, there were a lot of words that I used to describe last year's offense, and that was about the nicest that I could use. But okay, that's where we're at. There's a lot to look into here this week, every week. Now we're involved in the storyline.
Here's an extra primetime game that will at least pique my interest as a chin check for one of our future opponents. Vandy, Virginia Tech. Kyron Drones is not very good, and he's trying to change that narrative, but Pavia has year 75 in college football, and they come to town, and that spread right now, Sharps only think it's 1.5, so they're slightly favoring Vandy in a neutral field.
Wayne Stadium, Blacksburg, Virginia. Vanderbilt coming out, getting the opportunity to hear Enter Sandman and the pregame festivities.
Also, I saw as I watched the SMU game last week on replay that the analyst for that game was our guy. Good wine is vital, Steve Adazio.
Nice.
And it reminded me that I'm going to be reaching out to media relations at the ACC network to see if we can't grab Adazio for an interview here over the next couple weeks. It would be great to reunite with the man.
Steve, let's talk bold reds. I take you to Argentina. Well, you have my attention, Jeff.
My daughter's wedding featured 3 such bottles, Jeff.
He would probably answer in the same way. Yeah, that would be the answer. It'd be something along those lines. News that Randy Pittman will miss the next couple of weeks for Florida State. That ain't good, but the games are imminently winnable.
They time released this particular recovery because he suffered it in camp and he played through it in that game, and he played like a man.
He wasn't going to miss Alabama, was he?
It makes me feel good about the proposition that he'll be available for the Miami game, because this was, if he could manage it and play Alabama, and whatever procedure or therapy he needed to go through would take too long for him to come back for Miami, I think they would have waited, and he just would have managed the injury for another month. So I think this is a good sign that he'll be back for the big game next month. Hopefully Virginia on the road. Would be nice to get him back for that game. We'll see.
Yeah, whatever you got to do to get him back for the biggest games on the schedule, and he's a key cog to what Florida State does, as I've talked about before. But at the same time, you don't need him over the next 2 weeks. So that's where we're at. Norvell talking about him missing a little bit of time here. Obviously, he did go on to say that he was looking forward to seeing Amari Williams and Chase Lofton and Landon Thomas. Sorry. It's I wonder about Florida State right now, not in terms of whether or not they're going to play hard, whether or not they're going to be intense week to week, because we got the answer that they are bought in. But this has to have been, and Norvell said as much since the Alabama game, a bit of a tough few days as they wait on Ethan Pritchard to see if he's going to recover. And the more you learn of that situation, the sadder it gets and the more concerned you are. And I don't know, other than what we've been given the report to.
It continues to be a situation with stable condition for Ethan Pritchard. That's what Mike Norvell said today. He didn't quite go down to the detail of critical but stable. I'm assuming that is still the situation it is, because I think you would offer up a release if he's out of critical condition. But Mike Norvell and the team have all been very, very close to the situation. Mike Norvell has been back to the hospital, and I know that Herb Hand yesterday, Ira put this out on his Twitter, that after his interview was over, Herb Hand stopped and mentioned to the media that everybody is really, their minds and their hearts are with the freshman Ethan Pritchard.
Well, as they should be. I just, again, everybody, obviously, it doesn't take any sort of overwhelming amount of empathy and or genius to say that we're all concerned, but it's senseless and frustrating. And you hear certain things around the program that how well liked he was and how concerned those players are. And that's why I do wonder, how this week is going to go for them. But as for Florida State in the game itself, Tom and I talked about last hour, it's a really interesting juxtaposition between playing how much you play your starters, what's the point of emphasis, got to follow this last game and follow it up with a couple of good weeks and trying to work on some things. And I think the passing game is the thing they want to work on, but the identity of the team is the run game. So, those kinds of questions are what we'll go into, like when you and I do the pregame show that we'll post on YouTube. The Indigo is just a meet and greet this week, and we'll have the pregame hour ready for you.
So the pregame hour, yes, we're gonna cut that this week and release it on the channel 9 a.m. on Saturday. 9 a.m. it'll be available, and that's when we'll be in our cars and heading over to Hotel Indigo for I love these nooner meet and greets. I know that the night games have the more grand setting, but these are great because it's Bloody Marys, it's mimosas, it's conversations, a light morning breeze because it's on the 7th floor, so you do get a little bit of a better breeze in Tallahassee overlooking Doak. And then if you want food, it'll be available downstairs where they whip up all the stuff out of the kitchen. But come on up, 7th floor, 10 o'clock on Saturday at Hotel Indigo. Show will be released at 9 a.m.
Yeah, the other reason that you like this one, Tom, at noon is the same reason that I kind of do, that certain businesses don't, but I do because, we're older.
We've been up.
We're all right. Noon games, let's go. Let's get it on. I got other games to watch later in the day, especially when it's a foregone conclusion.
I've been up late the last week. I was so mad last night. I put my head on the pillow at whatever time it was, 10:05, and I couldn't fall asleep till after midnight.
What?
It's because the body clock from football season, it gets pushed later and later. This nooner is going to be a nice recalibration, and then we have the bye week after. Get a couple of weeks to return to that morningness, waking up at 7 and change instead of waking up at 8. Big difference between waking up at 6:47 and 8:05. Huge difference.
Yeah, the world's passed you by when you get up at 8:05. Time to get your ass out of bed. You're an adult, Tommy. Let's go. I, by the way, had my fantasy football draft with a bunch of mutual dear friends that are in the league that you know.
Is it still in person?
I didn't go. Others did. I did it from the comforts of the Cameron household on my computer. But anyhow, did partake in the draft, and I could tell that I'm getting up there. I had one beer during the draft. Normally, it's a big celebration of sorts, but no, I had one cold beer.
Yeah, we need to change something in my league. There was no timer.
Oh, no. That's not how this works. You get 1 minute in my league.
So we had
30
Smash.
seconds sometimes.
We had Smash Monday night, 7:30. This draft is at 6. I still had to put guys in the queue to go switch over and do the live show.
That's not what we do.
No, 90 seconds. I'll give you 2 minutes if you have some senior citizens in the league.
I won't.
90 seconds.
You've aged out. You've aged
You
out.
age people out?
If you cannot make a pick inside of 90 seconds, we're aging you out. You got to go. You just don't know what you're doing.
Or you call in the grandkids to be like, push this button.
Let them know I want him. Yeah.
Devontae Adams, please.
Let them know. No, buddy, you can't have it. So I do know this, and I wanted to pick your brain on this and actually defer because you did the video with Michael Langston, and I have yet to bring up post-Alabama from a recruiting standpoint.
Okay.
And I know recruiting is so different than it used to be, and what resonates can be very, very it's a transient thing. I understand that. But what is the biggest fallout in a good way? I would think that stadium atmosphere, those renovations, the result, it all came together for what had to have been a huge success for recruiting. And heading into the weekend, we knew there were some things that you really wanted to pay close attention to. Amari Thomas, the running back, what was going to be, what was going to be his thoughts after coming here, seeing this on display firsthand. FSU's offense, defense, will there be a buzz from the recruits on both sides of the ball afterwards? And then the overall recruiting impact. Obviously, I want to know, were they able to get maybe some guys that truthfully weren't considered viable options of the 4 and 5 star variety, Tom, that now look at this program in a different light?
Yeah, that certainly happened. That video is going to be released a little bit later today on the channel with all of Michael's thoughts. But I'll tell you that linebacker DQ Forkpuck came up in the video. And if you could get him and Isaiah Williams to say yes, that would be the first time. This was Matt Lasser's stat since, I believe, 2019 that Florida State had 2 blue-chip linebackers in the same recruiting class.
Let's go.
So it'd be nice to get off a 6-year schneid in that regard.
Yeah, I may have brought that up a time or two.
Yeah, so that's the last time that happened with 2 blue-chip linebackers. The other thing was, he said, frankly, I appreciated this. He said, I think a lot of kids came here, Florida State visits, but they were here to see Alabama. And then they walked out of that stadium going, oh.
They were there to see Alabama take an ass beating.
That's right.
That's
and then they realized, I think I want to come back for the Miami game.
Yeah.
And so that's where this thing is trending. Potentially some flips in season if Florida State continues the momentum. This was the intention grabber. This was the solution that washed away the stain from 2024 for this cycle. So kids can now focus on the now. With Florida State, it got a lot of people's attention. It's trending in the right way. It may convert some kids straight up by itself, but it's now put Florida State squarely in the conversation. And this is where the schedule turns into a weapon. That you have Miami back here so soon, you get to fortify about the atmosphere and the football-only facility and all those talking points.
Do you know, and I found this out from somebody who works at the university and has been able to talk about the design of the stadium and some of the changes in the stadium, that even though they diminished capacity in terms of total numbers, that the stadium could very well be actually, not just perceived to be, but actually be louder because of the way the further you get down towards the field, they designed it is for the sound off by the student section to come pushing through to bounce off that brick, that cement down there, and that it can act as a dizzying effect when things are ratcheted up to the nth degree for teams who are obviously on offense trying to hear. And I heard from people down low that was the loudest they ever heard it. Now, I am not all the way down at that lowest level with the multi-millionaires, but decent right in the middle section around the 35 or 40 there. It was good seats, but I'm kind of curious if that's true, if that's tangible.
Well, I mean, we could probably speak to Dr. Mario about this and the acoustics and the physics of it all, because it was a bowl setting. It's not exactly the same because you had 2 giant press box or structures to trap some of the noise, unlike the Rose Bowl, which kind of has an open side and then the press box side. And it's also like Michigan, it's kind of flat. It was a little bit more steep, like on the scale of Rose Bowl to Clemson. Doak was a little bit more steep than the Rose Bowl, but not quite as steep and on top of you as what Death Valley is in Clemson, which is why that noise is so loud. I can tell you that from where I was, about 25 rows up near the tunnel in the corner, it was up there in terms of noise. It wasn't Oklahoma 2011. I can tell you what it wasn't, but then after that, you get through about 2 or 3 games, it was
on the short list of best atmospheres that we've had in a very, very long time. I would agree with that. Pinch Penny Pools and Spas, everything you need for pool maintenance, chemicals, cleaners, pumps, vacuums, nets, covers, you name it, they've got it. Already have the largest selection of premium hot springs hot tubs in the entire city. Now, Hot Springs has decided to get in the cold plunge business. They've got those tubs too. The noted health benefits of a cold plunge each morning. You want to check out the variety of tubs that Hot Springs hot tubs, now Hot Springs cold tubs, have for you. Make sure you swing on by Greer Road and check out all the selection. It's massive. They'll remove your old tub, by the way. Give you some money towards a new one as well at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. They make it easy. Go see them today. Again, Greer Road. Find out for yourself how easy and affordable it really is. Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. If you're ready to relax, they're ready to show you how. Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, get to get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. It's MillerSeptic.com. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Here's the cold, hard truth. Your body needs more than you're giving it to stay healthy. And now it's easier than ever with Vigor, the all-new cold plunge tub from Hot Spring Spas. Available only at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Cold plunges reduce muscle soreness, boost mood, improve sleep, and so much more. It's not just a trend, it's science-backed wellness. And now you can have it in your own home. Ready to feel alive again? Pinch A Penny has the exclusive home use solution. Visit us on Capitol Circle Northeast and take the plunge.
Tired of spending money on bug spray and inhaling all those fumes every time you want to go outside? Treat your yard so you can stop spraying your kids.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has a solution to this persistent problem. Paul's has a program which seeks the grounds, flower bed, and shrubs. Paul's controls pesky mosquitoes year-round, which means you can take back control of your yard. Not only are mosquitoes a physical irritation, they also pose a potential health risk to people and pets. With Paul's targeted techniques, you can rest assured that your yard will be protected and your afternoons will stay fun.
Take back your yard. Don't let mosquitoes interrupt the fun. For more information, go to callpauls.com. For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Pauls. We'll get them all.
Pauls can help eliminate fire ants from your lawn, too. We'll help you take your yard back.
Ready to spice things up, Tallahassee? Slide into the all-new Tallulah Love Shop, your one-stop pleasure palace. From sensual toys and steamy couples kits to luscious aphrodisiacs and pheromone perfumes that whisper yes. And oh, don't forget the THC slushies, flower, 7-0 kratom, and sweet edible treats that hit just right. Grab your partner or come solo and see the all-new Tallulah Love Shop at 1530 Mahan Drive. More love, more fun, always at Tallulah.
Still waiting on that load of laundry to finish? If your dryer is taking forever to dry your clothes, the problem might not be your machine. It could be a clogged dryer vent. J. Walker Enterprises specializes in professional dryer exhaust cleaning, improving dryer efficiency and helping protect your home from a potential fire hazard. Don't risk it. Contact J. Walker Enterprises today and breathe easier knowing your home is safer and your clothes will finally dry on time. Visit jwalkerenterprises.com, the company locals trust.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You will go into the game Saturday expecting something different than this past Saturday. Like this past Saturday, everybody had expectations for a lot of different things. This one will be decidedly different, but you know the one that will be universal that everybody will agree upon Saturday? Let's get the end zones. It's okay now. It is Wednesday. It's Balls McWednesday. We've done some celebrating all through Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. It's okay to bring up a couple points here that fall under the cloud of negativity. Just to, hey, let's get those end zones. The paint job in general. Let's get that righted.
Yeah, there were a couple of things. You're right. Now is the time since we're a couple of days away. They also blew the intro, and I'm sure that's because Kreischer went on for longer than they expected that he would go on with his wrestling promo, because they were late to Osceola Renegade, which that can't happen. It ended up that Osceola Renegade were planting the spear as there was still a video montage going on the screen. That camera needs to be on Osceola Renegade when the spear drops. If you weren't watching the field and you were watching the video in the board at Doak, it was too late. Like it had already happened with the double jump with Renegade. So I think that was probably because Kreischer just went on and on and on. And they can fix that because he won't be there for every game. But again, these are the small things that you talk about on a Wednesday.
The game was delayed in general, though.
It was. Now, I'm sure that was the networks have purview over that to push back the kickoff times. But that shouldn't have any impact whatsoever on the fact that, the most important tradition that we have before we kick off gets center stage, and it's all eyes and everything on that moment. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Again, very small. Operation was great. Place was loud. They can tighten up the scoreboard thing. I heard that talk on headlines yesterday. I agree.
Yeah,
a couple of times it fooled me. I'm like, what? There's 3 minutes to go in the quarter? I thought there was 9. And I'm like, there is 9.
Right.
That's just what's going on in Illinois right now. So there's a few things.
Little things, minor things. But the painting, the paint, let's go.
It's much like the muff punt. Like, man, we're happy with the result. But there was that little thing. Everything else, wonderful. So, yeah, they nailed it. It was, I'm sure they will have the paint all set up. And when Osceola Renegade are ready to plant the spear, that we won't be running 2 things at once.
Yeah, other than that, but again, small. I would not include the muff punt in with the minor complaints we're talking about now. The muff punt is a major thing. We have to stop doing that. We've been doing it for years. Get somebody who can catch the GD football. They're not allowed to hit you. If they do, it's a penalty. I know it'll suck for you in the moment. You're a big boy. Handle it. We all been hit. It's okay. Call for the fair. I don't even care. The expectation that we're going to return a punt with any degree of excellence is long gone. It's just long gone. What I'm saying is I will diminish my expectation of what's possible temporarily until we master the first facet. We will not move on to the next. I have the design in front of me of how to build this, whatever it is, but I can't worry about that. This screw goes here. Let's start with that. I would love to dream of a day in which you make somebody miss, you spin out of it, you get a good block, 70 yards later, we're hooping and hollering because of a big-time special teams touchdown on a punt return. But that's this big picture stuff over here. As for right now, we have to catch the effing ball. So let's hope that that's the next big step forward in the evolution of special teams at Florida State. I was very pleased, obviously, with the other aspects. Everything else was buttoned up. But this is carried over now across regimes. And so I worry that maybe there's not something that, is getting relayed here. But wave for the fair catch, sprint to the ball, make said catch.
There's one thing that we have done in terms of instruction for punt returners that we've seen since Mike Norvell got here and we were allowed to go see practice, which is they bring out the super soaker, and they're like, oh, there's the super soaker. Catch the ball, young man. It's got some George Whitfield energy. Remember, as he's waving pool noodles and all that kind of stuff.
Here's a broom.
I think that's a real big waste of time because what's the point of the super soaker? The part of the exercise is catching the ball. So let's ditch the super soaker.
Catch it.
That's right. I don't know. Maybe you need some airsoft guns. Go get it. Catch it. Whatever it is, that kind of training. We need that center fielder who's going to take charge and call everybody off the ball. That's what we need right there.
Yeah, a little frustrating. A little frustrating to say the least. But, hey, look, again, we have a chance. We got opportunities. This week's a great opportunity, Tom, for somebody to show that they can consistently catch the football on a punt. Also, not for nothing, we screwed up a kickoff return, too.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
I know, but they practiced so
Singleton was like, should I stay or should I go? 15-yard line. That really irked me. And I had missed that because we were going through some staging tests for post-game phone lines and all that
stuff. So you didn't see that. Yeah.
So, no, it was being relayed to me by Director Nick. He's like, okay, so we have Chrome on first down. I'm thinking it's 25-yard line. So I go back and watch it after. I didn't know that until after the post-game.
Like, what are we doing there? How'd that happen?
Man. Yeah. Okay. All right.
T-Spark Enterprises, they conquer all peaks. They're delighted, obviously, to announce that T-Spark Enterprises has been awarded the Distinguished GAF. That's the Gold Elite Commercial Contractors Award. Recognition for their relentless pursuit of excellence. By the way, you can find that pursuit of excellence throughout North Florida and South Georgia. For all your commercial and residential roofing and construction needs, call T-Spark Enterprises, 850-766-1340. North Florida, I should say, South Georgia, Tallahassee, Monticello, Havana, Quincy, Crawfordville, Wakulla, Madison, Thomasville, Bainbridge, Cairo. Goodness gracious. T-Spark, you're everywhere. T-Spark Enterprises, right here alongside the Jeff Cameron Show, like the way it should always be. And you can give a call today, 850-766-1340.
Your local news now.
Tallahassee police released body cam footage Tuesday of a man. Come with me. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Mechamore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at mechamoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mainly clear skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 90. Winds out of the east around 5 miles per hour. Lows level off around 68 tonight, clear skies. Ample sunshine expected tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 92. Dry Friday and Saturday under partly cloudy skies with highs in the mid-90s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 87 degrees.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking, they never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
But they still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Rolling on this Ballsmick Wednesday, and it's great to be here. It's so fun to have a laid-back, sort of civil and exciting projection of like the weekend to be, the game, what's at stake, what's not at stake, what's in the back pocket already, the success. Been a minute. We didn't have those days last year, Tom.
No,
2-10 was met by consternation Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
It's consternation year. This is one of the worst years of all of our football lives.
That's what I mean. Like, you would come in to do a show, which we're ordinarily very excited about, and go,
yeah,
let's steel ourselves for the details.
Like Gus Malzahn at the 4-minute mark of his press conference.
Yeah. Looking over at sports information.
Yeah, well, we got a lot of guys with experience, and
well,
they
just gotta
played a lot of snaps.
Perhaps.
Okay, let's go to Ira.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, what do you think?
That's me on a drive when one of my kids, who I instructed before we left to pee, we're an hour in, says, Dad, we got to pull over. We're trying to get where we're going, boys. Now, I distinctly remember saying before we left to everybody that we need to go to the bathroom before we get in the car because we're not stopping.
Could be worse for the boys. They could be in a car with Gus in traffic. Could you imagine that experience?
Yeah. I've gotten better over the years, but man,
this is why I don't trust highway roads.
I don't do well. I have it in my head. You know, I'm the guy that when this phone says to me, that will be a 4-hour and 7-minute trip, I take it as a challenge. I call it a liar. I say, you listen here, Maps. For the average schmo, that's a 4-hour and 7-minute drive. We'll be there in 3. And then I tell everybody.
Right. You're doing the Winston Wolf thing.
Let's yeah.
That's 20 minutes away. I'll be there in 8.
Yeah, let's go. Yes, I do. And so when that gets messed with, it's a little, because I do also, it's such a cliche, the thing where we pull in the driveway, I go, 28 minutes shaved. Good job, everybody. Way to go.
You've earned that, though, because a lot of times when you're on corporate calls, they say, we're going to give you some minutes back for your day, which is something that makes me want to reach through the connection and just, like the South Park character, I will slap you. You're not giving me back minutes from my day.
No.
You didn't take time away from me. You're not some benevolent soul. But if you are a driver and it's 28 minutes ahead of the ETA, you did something. You did give me minutes back in my day.
I gave you those 28 minutes with expertise.
You risked a ticket, at least one.
I
to give me back
did.
a half an hour.
I certainly did. So now that we're off to a rollicking start on Redemption Thursday, 10-3 through 2 weeks. So we had a 3-game week and then a 10-game week. We went 7-3 last week. I have to incorporate the NFL in week 1, and that can be very difficult to do.
Yes, it can.
Week ones are tough.
That's a noisy week.
But we start it tomorrow, and I will incorporate said Dallas-Philadelphia game. I laid it. I'm going to do it. And I know what's going to happen, Tom. What's going to happen is I'm going to find an angle on games like Arizona-New Orleans. What are we doing?
Ooh, my God. Where is it?
New Orleans.
Okay. At least it's not in that building.
I mean,
in Arizona.
We go to Arizona. You just
Kyler Murray in the red zone.
You hate that phrase.
Oh.
How about the fine folks in Jacksonville, rightfully excited about what could be a good year, but the rest of us hearing that the 1:00 game on Sunday is Carolina and Jacksonville.
Yeah. A little expansion Sunday.
Ooh.
I still think of them as the expansion team.
2 teams that might be in Canada soon. You're like, what are we doing here? That could be the Toronto Jaguars and the Montreal Panthers.
Wait, is that something that's happening?
No, but
Roger Goodell trying to expand the footprint?
Well, they send Jacksonville over to London every third hour. They don't care. I mean,
it's a fascinating game, though. I will tell you, better than New Orleans, Arizona by a long shot because Carolina got their act together.
Yes, they did, and there's reason for them to want to watch now because maybe the kid, the little child playing quarterback for Carolina at $157 might be all right.
You can love Travis Hunter, hate Travis Hunter. Most of you are in the latter part of the category, but that's interesting. Liam Cohen running that offense is interesting.
It is interesting.
This is Trevor Lawrence, last stand.
Swan song if he can't get it done with his sorry ass.
Whoa.
Oh, no. But, yeah, this is it, right? He's got to be good. And I do think Travis Hunter will be good.
Although Thielen to the Vikings, huh? He went last week.
Yeah, I'm not.
He was important to Carolina. Like, I think there is much greater value, unless he signed somewhere else in the offseason that I'm unaware of.
I think we're looking at the end for Adam. I think that's about all she wrote. But, hey, look, it's good to have it back. There'll be some massive upset. There will be a moment where we all look around like, oh, what's this about? Okay, maybe they're going to be a little bit better than we realized. I, for one, just looking for the angle week one, predicting a winner for every game. That's all you're doing. That's all. That's the big goal for week one. What do we got? Because I'm in the other pool, and then, of course, we bring Mom back, and I have to end this shenanigans. The shenanigans ends this year.
Yeah, if she wins again.
That's the end of it.
If she wins again, you might have to put her up against AI or something.
If she wins again, she's a dynasty.
That's right.
She'll be the new dynasty in our family pool. There was a time where I scoffed at the idea, but now this is back-to-back, and she's gotten a little arrogant. Gotten a little arrogant about it. I get little missives.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, they're not taunting per se, but they are reminders. They are like, oh, make sure you give me the time to call in, honey. I wouldn't want to miss the opportunity to win again.
That's fair. You know what? Since we got wiped out of all of our digital stuff this offseason, that's a good reminder. I need to get the family picnic video up there with the pirate. You love those cartoon pirate helmets.
They make me laugh.
Yeah, got to go find that.
By the way, I did not realize, Live Spectator, well done. Both the Jags and Panthers debuted 30 years ago. Whew. The time it flies.
Expansion Sunday. Yep. Yeah.
McDuddies contributed to the cause here this afternoon and says, Tom, who wins the coveted Cy-Hawk on Saturday? Go Noles.
The Cy-Hawk trophy.
Right.
That's a good question. I have no idea what Iowa is.
Well, yes, you do. They're the same team they've been for 35 years under the same coach.
I heard they might actually have a little bit of offense this go around.
Well, they did last year too, and I think that they're going to play defense.
I kind of liked what I saw to Becht. I'm not gonna lie. He's a better quarterback than his counterpart in Dublin.
I did and I didn't. Yeah. No, the counterpart.
They had a couple of key drops, or else Iowa State, I think, produces a little earlier in that game with a little bit better consistency.
I'm wrestling with that contest, the number being just 41.5 for a total, the line being Iowa State by 3.5. I don't know. I might just take the upset outright with Iowa. They will defend, sir. They will defend.
Wrong team's favored.
Yeah, not so fast, my friend, in honor of. Did you go back now? Have you seen all of – I don't know how I missed it. I missed some of the tributes and some of the things. I saw what I thought was the bulk of it. Have you gone back and watched? For as much as we kill ESPN, and rightfully so, for a lot of reasons, they give us the ammunition. Boy, did they get that right with the Herbstreit thing. And I want to point out, this is how beloved Kirk Herbstreit is. I mean, not Kirk Herbstreit, Lee Corso is. Sorry. This is how beloved Lee Corso is. ESPN and Fox working out a deal on each other's network, and ESPN giving Fox permission to run Herbstreit's tribute and the pick on Fox simultaneous to ESPN.
I didn't realize they did that. That's good. I mean, because they
let it break in and do it.
They should have. He's larger than any network.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I thought I had seen all of the other stuff. What I hadn't seen was the long version, I guess. And somebody told me that it had been shown before. Somehow it escaped me, and I feel terrible. But I saw it now. When they take him to the theater, and then the screen with the tribute, it was longer than the version I saw originally. So I watched, I guess, the whole thing.
Huh. I'm gonna have to go back and find it. I did not see.
You didn't see the tributes where he gets Herbstreit brings him. They're going down the hall, patting down memory lane, all these great pictures, all these things right then. He goes, "We got one more thing here, Coach, I think," and he lets him into a movie theater.
Oh.
And he sits down by himself in the theater, and then they start the projection up on the big screen, and it's a camera on Corso from the side, and then one coach after the other, and former players and former broadcasters that he's worked with and former administrators that he's known, and then his kids.
Nope.
Oh, woo, buddy. No. You watch that by yourself.
Yeah.
You watch that by yourself.
Immediately, that reminds me of a few years ago, my parents celebrated their 50th anniversary in 2022. And my sister put together this long montage of everything from the silent films with their parents, like my folks' parents.
Geez.
That's the kind of stuff you need to watch that alone. That ain't cool, man. But that also is in the tradition of College Game Day, which even if it's not Rinaldi, they'll get you once a week.
This was so good and so well done. And what was good about it, now on a serious note, besides getting a little choked up, one of the things you'll love about it is it gave people from all walks of life, all over the college football landscape, having them be able to weigh in and say, oh, listen, I've always admired you from afar. You were great even when you picked against us. And like all the big coaches admitting that even on days where they couldn't watch the headgear pick because they had to be out on the field or it was time for them to leave the hotel or whatever it might be, they would ask their SID, who do you take? Like that kind of thing. It was just cool to see him get that. And then to have people say, listen, I know everybody says nice things about you, Lee, but people don't know the half of it. You're this kind of a guy, and what you did for me in my career. Tirico talking about it. Oh, buddy, it was. And then, admittedly, we get mad at him, but you know that Herb Street loves him. And when Herb Street had to talk about him, he really couldn't. He struggled.
Yeah, look, people are complicated, and Herb Street had an excellent reputation around these parts for a long time. But he's impervious to criticism for is his treatment of Lee Corso.
No,
we all understand this, right? I would hope that we can. It doesn't mean that we have to be pleasant to him when they have to come here for College Game Day in a few weeks' time without Lee Corso.
Which would be really cool if they got to come to. Yeah, let's hope that happens.
Did you see? I saw a video clip. It was posted on social, and it was Reese Davis speaking to Herb Street, and it was about his top 25 picks. It was at the end of the game on Monday. Kirk is checked out, and Reese is like, "Well, this is a point that you bring up often about top 10 matchups. I kept all three of the losers in my top 10 of those ranked versus ranked." He goes, "Yeah, good for you. That's good for you." And he goes, "No, that's great." It couldn't have been more dismissive. Reese doubled down. Kirk was checked out. He's like, "Oh, that's yeah. I don't think Alabama should be ranked." And then he's like, "Well, but you've brought this up, Kirk, so you're trying to get him to answer as a broadcaster. Yeah, good for you. Good for you."
Here's the funny thing about this, and I think this is true, and that is indicative. These rankings, these FPI rankings, an announcer ranking, what's her face's rankings, Heather, any of them. And this isn't a shot at any one person, although I've taken my barbs at all of these guys, and that's fine. It comes with it. What the hell does it matter now? It's a 12-team playoff, soon to be a 16-team playoff. Who cares after week one whether Reese Davis keeps anybody in this top 10, top 20, top 1,000? Who gives a damn? Good, Reese. I mean, if I was at that desk, that'd be tough. I'd be like, and you are? Who cares, Reese?
Well, but you know what's going on as a broadcaster in that moment. Yeah, I'm setting you up
to say to counter this.
I'm giving you ammunition that this is a talking point that annoys you. I did it the right way. This is your chance to espouse your belief again that, yes, if you schedule tough in the beginning, and instead of giving back.
He's checked out. But
I passed you the ball. You spiked the ball at my face.
The larger point is that you would have to have the talk and the production meeting with the producers and everybody else. This isn't necessary anymore. We've moved on from this. The game is not the same anymore. It used to be of vital importance the way that people viewed and voted on these things, such as tough schedules, early season wins and losses, etc. They're not anymore. They may matter individually. They may matter long-term. They may not matter at all, as we saw. Last year, Florida State's preseason top 10, they lose to Georgia Tech, and good Lord, we know what happens after all of that. It's just, I think that people have gone away from it. It sounds like they didn't give Herb Street the message, like, hey, man, you're going to have to, talk about this.
Talk! The game is going on. You got to give it. We have a top 25 graphic on screen. Your job is to talk, not chide your partner. Go, good for you.
No, but I think, because I've seen this before, and I've watched these guys all do it to each other before. You know what some of that is? That's ego. But that's also somebody saying in that meeting, we shouldn't do this. We don't need to do this. This isn't a viable talking point. I don't really care to do this. And then they make him do it. It's petulant. But that stuff exists both from the Reese standpoint, the Herb Street standpoint. I've watched them all do it. You know, they're like, great. You're like, oh.
Reese in that moment has to be like, well, then put the dog on. If you're not going to say a damn thing,
well, they
put the
do
dog
it
on.
already, and I'm
Yeah.
a dog guy, and that drives me nuts.
Oh,
I'm like, what are we doing over and over again with this?
But in this instance, because of North Carolina and how they've skated, the most spoiled fan base in America, because they can cheat as a program
and get away with it.
The NCAA loved them. The ACC loves them. The Power 2 wants them. But how about Chapel Bill taking a dump on the field, and then they have to put a dog on the broadcast because there's 5 people in the stands?
That made me laugh. I was asleep when that happened. I woke up the next day and saw it and thought, oh, my goodness, this is what we're doing. We've got a dog producing the show here because there's nothing to talk about because Bill Belichick got beat 48-14 on Bill Belichick Day.
Yep. No, there's nothing to talk about. Reese is trying to start a conversation, and his guy's like, screw the meeting. Good for you. Good for you. Whatever. Awesome, Reese.
But I will say, and I do wonder how this is going to go. I saw Mike Norvell on CBS, their sports show, their college sports coverage, and it was a good interview. I watched this last night, and it was the panel, and they all were asking him questions, and Mike did a fine job, and it was fine. It was good. But I do wonder, every coach feels compelled to certainly promote their program when they're given a stage and that opportunity, but and after 1 week, I've seen 47 interviews with every coach in the top 25. They got to be like, what? Jesus, what are we doing? We've got a lot of games to play here. That was one. Final hour, bonus hour. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Injured? Call Facek Brooks and come back stronger. Offices, Tallahassee.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 373031.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
Attention all sandwich lovers. Café de Martín is bringing Peruvian fire to your lunch break with their all-new summer sandwich combos. Asado that melts in your mouth. Fried fish so fresh and crispy, it snaps. And smoked pork or chicken? Yes, please. Comboed with Peruvian fries and an iced tea for just $15. Available Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 3. Upgrade your lunch at Café de Martín in the Espositos Shopping Center. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
Pay-per-view fights can ring up big bills, especially since in the Octagon there is one every few weeks. That's why the 7th Hill Tap Room right downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill carries every single fight. Plus, unlike most pay-per-view bars, there's no cover charge. And drink specials too, like $3 select domestic beers and more. And if you enjoy international soccer, 7th Hill opens early. $2 mimosas on Sundays, anyone? The 7th Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, just downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. This is Brian Kilmeade, and I'm excited to be on the air in the capital city. Be sure to tune into my show. I'll be giving you all the latest news, information, and the truth you demand. The Brian Kilmeade Show is live from 9 till noon, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
WVFD Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
Florida Gators bet down from an 18.5 point to a 17.5 point favorite at home with South Florida Saturday. The total has moved from 54.5 to 56.5. The Bulls opened up with a 34-7 win last Thursday against Boise State at home. Jaguars open up the season laying 3.5 points against the Carolina Panthers at Everbank Stadium on Sunday, while the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a 2.5 point road favorite at the Atlanta Falcons. Braves today, $1.28 dog at the Cubs. Cubs minus 157 at Wrigley Field. Cubs won yesterday 4-3. Score $500 in rewards with the G-Bank First Bet VSiN Trifecta. Details at vsin.com/GBank. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Lowe's knows tough jobs call for tougher tools. The new DeWalt Elite Series power tool accessories are built to last for the pro who doesn't stop. With precision fitment, durability, and impact resistance, finishing jobs faster has never been easier. Shop the new DeWalt Elite Series at an everyday low price exclusively at Lowe's. We help, you save.
IBM and the United States Tennis Association are unveiling a new lineup of AI-powered digital experiences for tennis fans around the world. The 2025 U.S. Open app offers customized, nonstop coverage to bring tennis fans right inside the two-week tournament. Too long didn't read? New Watson X-powered Key Points instantly generates summaries for all articles and match analysis for fans who need quick, snackable tennis insights. To learn more about this new feature and others like Match Chat and Live Likelihood to Win, download the U.S. Open app, sponsored by IBM.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck? Tractor or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
For most families, your home is your biggest investment. That's why Joel Higgins built ACL Home Inspections, providing you thorough, precise, and efficient information with same-day, easy-to-read digital reports.
Probably one of the most common things that we find is a water heater drain line. It's meant to be plumbed a certain way, and a lot of the times in a retrofit situation where they replace the water heater is a different size. Lots of times they'll say, I had no idea. And it's the home that they live in. And they walk past these things every day. They're not even aware that it's a danger, much less that it's even there.
Protect your family's biggest investment. Call ACL.
Having your HVAC system operating properly is probably the biggest thing for high temperature events. So I always recommend a service agreement with a local HVAC company that will come twice a year and clean and service your HVAC system, and they can spot problems.
Call today, 850-312-8919.
Did you know backup generators often lack the power needed to start an AC unit? Installing an EasyFlex soft starter from E&B Heating and Air can reduce startup current by 75%, allowing your AC to run without a larger, more expensive generator. Visit EMBHeatingandAir.com for more info.
Hey everybody, this is Greg Tish, and I want to personally invite you to join us each and every weekday morning right here on Real Talk 93.3 for the Greg Tish Show. We have the best guests in Tallahassee. We play the funnest games like Give Me a Second, the movie clip game, and everybody loves the food segment every weekday morning at 6:45. So start your day with Tallahassee's morning show, The Greg Tish Show, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Warchant TV, appreciate that. Thanks for listening locally on 93.3 FM. I am looking at some numbers here. The bug has hit me. I feel like the Flintstones. Bet. Steelers, Bears, Raiders are the most bet playoff odd tickets right now at BetMGM. Odds to make the playoffs at the current moment, teams that are being swayed by those numbers. Most bet to make the playoffs are the Chargers, Bengals, Broncos. A lot of people seeing odds there at minus 40, 145, 130, and 150. Kind of fun. Go through all of that. How about the ticket for the Giants to make the playoffs at plus 650? It's not a terrible ticket. I might make an argument that from a personnel standpoint, Tom, the Giants might have as good a roster as the Cowboys. We shall see.
It's a tough division, though. I mean,
it is. I'm just looking at numbers.
Philly's come back to earth. Is Washington the betting favorite in that division? I wonder if there's enough of the Daniels effect.
I think Philly is
still Philly. Okay, and the Giants have improved. Yeah, and Dallas has waned. So interesting division. Usually time was when Eli Manning was there. That was the division that was the race to 9-7, and then look out in the playoffs. The NFC South has become that of recent,
right?
But the NFC East is very interesting this year. A lot of cool storylines.
So underway, that's tomorrow. We get Philadelphia and Dallas. The NFL begins to marry with college football, and all's right with the effing world because we also have the wind down of Major League Baseball's regular season. The Knowles matter again now, and so we were already invested, but doubly invested, back wondering about the possibilities of greatness and all that. This is going to be a busy in a good kind of way every day of the week football season as baseball winds down, and soon all the others get going here. We'll get camps with hockey, the NBA. By the way, NBA 2K26 or whatever it is out and about over there. My man George has got it at Games for Less already ahead of time, as he's known to do. So if you haven't been to Games for Less, that too is locally owned and operated and worth your support. George is fantastic. Swing on in off the Parkway and get your NBA 2K.
And if you haven't gotten CFB 26, stop by over there. That game has been enjoyable. It is smooth. The engine is good. I feel like the feedback is realistic. They nailed it this year. I continue to very much enjoy that game.
Did want to mention a couple of things here, just news stories, more and more coming out by the day, an hour, I should say, regarding Ethan Pritchard, the young man on Florida State's team, that a linebacker, freshman, that was shot in the head. You guys know about that story by now, but there is a GoFundMe fundraiser that has been posted for the Pritchard family. For anybody that wants to help out there, certainly our well wishes and thoughts are with him as he remains in intensive care. From a football standpoint, learn more that as far as Florida State's health goes, they did pretty well. But Randy Pittman, who is really kind of, I think, a key cog to what Florida State's going to do throughout the course of this season, is going to miss this upcoming game, maybe the game after. Sounds like they're going to be very cautious. He had an injury that he was dealing with throughout camp, wanted to play, did play, played well, but will be out now, it seems like, maybe with an undisclosed injury for the next couple of weeks. So I wouldn't play him if you didn't have to until that Miami game. But again, I don't know what the injury is per se. They'll take a look closer at Landon Thomas, Amari Williams, Marquiston Douglas, and others. But, this is a kid that, man, does he love to play football, and man, does it show. Don't you love when you watch a play? Lots of players' attributes stand out. Speed, catch radius if you're a big, tall wide receiver or tight end. Strength in the trenches. You might see somebody just powering through somebody on a bull rush, something like that, and you realize the sheer strength and size and leverage that a player plays with. Quick players off the edges, wide receiver, footwork, whatever it might be. But I love when I'm watching a football player who, when I get done, I just go, man, does he love to play football. Look at that dude. He can't wait. And I feel that way about Randy Pittman. He's violent, he's nasty, but he loves to play football, and it's readily apparent. So we wish him well and hopefully he gets back sooner rather than later. Real good football player.
There's a lot of those guys on this roster that can be described just the way you're speaking, that they love to play the game. You can tell they cannot wait to play the game, and there are more of them this year that are holdovers from last year. Seems like they've unlocked a joy for the moment, Juice Cryer being chief amongst them, and I love that story because I love that Juice was comfortable enough to tell the media he didn't like the 3-3-5 as a philosophy when it came in, and he had to be convinced. But Tony White gave him the time of day to explain where he's coming from, the kinds of things that Juice Cryer might be in the middle of, and then beyond that fourth down stop, he made another play right in the middle of the line of scrimmage, coming up and thundering. And you could tell my man is having a ball out there playing.
You know, we wondered, and all we were left to do in the offseason was speculate. You really couldn't do anything else, so this is the way it works. But we did talk about there being a slight difference in philosophy, even though the building blocks were the portal, which echoed the building blocks from the year before and the year before that. This is largely a program that has been being run on the portal, at least as it pertains to your starters year over year. And there's been a conversation about whether that ought to be the case or to what degree that should be the case. And I think we'll continue to debate those things. But I don't think what's open for debate right now is the choices to change the philosophy in the portal and what it allowed for them to do and the immediate impact it had in week one. And that is the coaches and Mike Norvell making a good decision here as he reassesses how best to dip into the portal. His thought, and I've had to answer this question a lot on a bunch of different shows post the win over Alabama. Well, what's changed, Jeff, and what stayed the same? Why do we have such a different result? They were portal-oriented a year ago. They're portal-oriented now. Mike Norvell was their coach a year ago. Mike Norvell's their head coach now. What's changed? And obviously the first talking point that you're going to go to is the CEO nature and the new coordinators and all of that. That's the staff has changed some. The head coach is the same, but he brought in people for help, and he did this, and this, right? But what I do bring up over and over again is something we did bring up during the offseason, and that is this approach to taking players that had proven it on the field, playing big-time college football, and being able to tell, hey, this guy can play. I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. We'll have to interview him. We'll have to talk to him. We'll have to figure out if we're comfortable with him coming into our program. But I'm not going to do any of that, the talking to, the figuring out whether he's a fit or not, until whether I see he can play. We didn't go on potential this year at all. Last year, Jalen Brown, potential, hadn't played a bunch of football. You go Benson, potential, hadn't played a ton of football for Bama. You go through list one by one. Now, there are some exceptions there. Obviously, DJ had played a lot of football. But a lot of guys, it was about the fact that, hey, they were recruited to LSU. They were recruited to Alabama. They were recruited to Georgia. They were recruited to these other places. So, therefore, they must be good. They wouldn't have been evaluated, assessed, recruited, and chosen for a scholarship if they weren't players that those programs who traffic in 4- and 5-star talent didn't think could play. So you take your risks on guys like that because they're disgruntled at their current locale and you have an opportunity to bring them in and maybe they're an upgrade of what you have. We know that the potential is great. Turns out, maybe not. Maybe they were available for a good reason. This time, you still take the risk that somebody's available for a good reason. But you also know that regardless, I've got film of them playing in the SEC. I've got film of him being a plus player in the ACC. I've got film of this guy leading Tennessee in tackles in the SEC. In tackles. We're going to bring him in to tackle people as a linebacker. He's done a lot of tackling. Tackled people at Memphis, tackled people at Tennessee. He can tackle. He's a sideline to sideline linebacker. Hopefully he's a good guy. Let's see, but we know he can play. Jerry at Houston played high level results on the field. We talked about it a lot. Well, I really think that went a long way on Saturday, and the coaches do too because they talked about that aspect of experience, a lot of experience, and how quickly they could learn and adapt.
You got a shot here after watching this performance and how much they trusted some of the younger players to have the ramp down in the portal. This is something that I was worried about as recently as 2-3 weeks ago. and how many players you're going to have to dip in to go get in the portal year over year. But then they started 25 players on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of them young players like the Desir twins. And, Jabril Rawls is only in his second year, I believe. And you've got Quindarius Jones, who has another year, and Edwin Joseph, who's got another year, and Earl Little. These guys all have time to come back and play again. Juju Wynn, we have not seen yet, is a younger player. And then on offense, Javen Boggs is going to be in that equation. You've got a couple of young tight ends that you like. Maybe Chase Lofton slides over to that room. Maybe he stays at receiver. Who knows? Croma. You're going to need help on the offensive line. We'll see what Tommy's situation is at the end of the year, but you have Sperry behind him that you feel pretty solid about. And don't look now, but you kind of like your 26 quarterback class, and the 27 class might be pretty good. You're starting to see the potential for a transition here to where you don't quite have to live solely off of the portal. That offensive line, though, is going to be the major thing that over the next couple of games, I want to see where those young guys are. Because here's the good news. They talked tough about the rotation on defense. Tony White did. And then he played a lot of people, and they were all good.
Yeah.
What if the offense is the same thing? And you do see Lucas Simmons go out there, and you see Jonathan Daniels and Andre Otto work with some of the other younger players in that rotation in the second half of this game against a lesser opponent, yes. But Florida State offensive lines a couple times in the last 5-6 years couldn't block against air. So maybe there's some pathway where you can feel hope about next year on the offensive line. That's the exciting stuff that I'm looking at over the next couple of games for Florida State is how desperate do we need to be in the transfer portal after the season is over? These two games are about the long-term build of the program, so it's going to be fun to see that starting on Saturday.
You hit on the area that I'm most interested in watching. I mean, obviously, Croma is exciting, so if you play Croma and give him the ball 20 times, I'm going to be excited about that. But Otto is important. Lucas is important. Daniels is important. All of a sudden, all these offensive linemen that you didn't get an opportunity to play. Rizzi will play in this game. He's less important, but he matters to your depth. But those guys that I'm talking about that you've recruited, that you've had on campus, and that so far this has been a problem, you have failed to develop, they got to get in here. Let's see what Herb Hand does with them. How does he sculpt those guys so that this time next year it's not as big an undertaking in the portal for the offensive line? I mean, this offseason, they went out and brought in 4 new starting offensive linemen. I mean, Leonard was already here, but he was a portal player too, of course. But I mean, you had to go out and basically reshape your offensive line, all with guys that played a lot of football, some in the ACC, some in the SEC. You brought them in, great. But, man, I want to not be so reliant on that. I want to have a basis for an understanding of what we're going to be up front year over year. Oh, you need a new right tackle because somebody got hurt or transferred? Fine, go hit the portal. We don't want constant 4-5-man changes on the offensive and defensive line. So, over the next 2 games, I can't wait to watch those guys. It's not that I don't want to watch the other young players or that I don't care about the other players. It's that in the trenches, I want to see real development. I'm already impressed with what Herb Hand has done and how quickly he got those players, all transfers, to meld together and play as one. I'm also very impressed, as you just pointed out with Tony White, getting so many people in on defense, 25 players, 23 players with 10 or more snaps. That's amazing to think about. But that speaks to buy-in, and it speaks to his ability to teach it. You know, that's not an easy scheme, and he's teaching it up quick. They picked up on that.
There are times a couple of years ago that I thought that they put guys out there for the sake of putting them out there, and that was even in a 12-0 campaign 2023 season. There were some times in those games where you're going, this is a big moment. Why do we not have Jared Verse on the field?
Well, you and I talked about it a lot. Yeah,
we did. And look, they could argue we played the long game. Maybe it was a little bit risky, but at the end of the year, who looked fresher and more violent than we did in November and December? Okay, fair. I don't think Tony White approaches this the same way.
I don't either, and they shouldn't, because I don't believe that was the reason that we looked better.
No. I agree with you. I think if you put somebody on the field for that Bama game, it's not with your eye towards us being good at the end of the year. It's I trust them now. I trust them today to do what they were trained to do. And that's a really good sign, because that means that you developed in mass.
And they play a certain way.
Yeah. Well, think about that. You developed 24 people.
Yeah.
In one off season with a scheme that could not be more different than its predecessor.
And you demanded of them that the only way you could play is if you played with a level of intensity and focus and, obviously nastiness. In addition to understanding it, he had to teach it, like you say, but I got to see it the requisite what for. I got to know that I'm getting guys out there that are going to hit you when they arrive, that they're going to care enough to lay it on the line. It's glorious. Chubby's is the ultimate football apparel brand, so much so they created their own fantasy football league. George Kittle, Ian Rappaport, and others have come together to assemble the Chubby's League on NFL Fantasy. Each week, the top 5 scorers will win a chance at Chubby's polo shorts combos with their team's logo. The grand champion gets the chance at the ultimate fan experience, 5-day, 5-stadium NFL game tour with a +1. Hey, now. While the fantasy flop faces a hilarious and unforgettable punishment only Chubby's could pull off, head to chubbysshorts.com/the Chubby's League to learn more and have some fun. Get ready for the most outrageous fantasy football season of your life? Would you look at that, everybody? For a limited time, our friends at Chubby's are giving our listeners $10 with the promo code JCS at chubbysshorts.com/JCS. $10 off your order with the promo code JCS, and that includes the NFL collection. Support this show and tell them that we sent you. Express yourself and level up your game day wardrobe with Chubby's.
Parker McCollum. Live 2025. Friday, September 26th, Donald L. Tucker Civic Center. Multi-platinum selling artist Parker McCollum. Special guests Ashley Cook and Cassie Ashton. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Parker McCollum Live.
Tallahassee's 30-year-old funny paper and American Legion Post 13 have joined forces to become Major Morale. The new magazine has 4 more pages of post activities and military information that you probably never knew. But don't worry, it's still as politically correct and newsworthy as always. Okay, it's the same funny stuff, but it's still only available at the sponsors' locations like Keith Lawson Services, Tallahassee Automobile Museum, ABC Flooring, or Krispy Kreme Donuts. The country's best donut place has great different monthly specialty donuts like Ghirardelli, Oreo, Chips Ahoy, and too many more to mention. Sign up online at KrispyKreme.com for exclusive email discounts or download the app that lets you pile up rewards every time you order ahead. Krispy Kreme, America's favorite donut.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 373031.
Hey, you. Can't you read the sign? It says, keep off the grass. Oh, but I just wanted to feel it. Excuse me? I wanted to feel what it was like to have an amazing lawn like you do. It always looks so good, even in the summertime. How do you do it, neighbor? They're called Lawn Johns. They come once a week. Maybe you should give them a call so you can tell other people to stay off your lawn. How's that sound? Ooh, yes. I would love to tell people to stay off my lawn.
For the very best in lawn care, call the Lawn Johns at 850-322-2567.
Stay off my lawn.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Severe from Vicks.
Sinex Severe Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Severe instantly relieves nasal congestion and works 6 times faster than nasal decongestant tablets. The 12 hours of relief allow you to get back to the moments that matter without congestion.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it. Try Sinex Severe from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Terry wants to know, is it safe to call Norvell Mad Mike now? That's funny. Well, here's the thing about, and thanks, Terry. Here's the thing about Mike. I'm enjoying him embracing. We're talking about Norvell, right? I'm enjoying him embracing the role that he's kind of now had to carve out as he gave up the play calling. That's very. He gets credit for giving up the play calling. It's his baby, and it had to suck to do. But once you do that, you had better embrace the other facets of what you can do now. And so he gets credit for that. It can be difficult to give credit sometimes to a guy who quite frankly failed a year ago at his expertise, but you still should, I think. And I find it difficult sometimes, admittedly. I'm like, you did what you had to do. I mean, you kind of sucked at what you were supposed to do, so you did what you had to do.
Well, yeah, as it pertains to the energy I have is still the same. I'm indifferent to his particular process. I want the results, and we're 1 for 1, baby. This is great.
Yeah, but make the changes you need to make. Yeah. Identify what the problems are. He did have to remove his ego to do that, and I give him credit for it.
We're on the right track, but one result does not a reputation totally clean up, and that's what we're looking for this year. It's a great start. It's as good a start as you can imagine, and there are a ton of kids. Like I said, in terms of rooting interests, of course we have our own, but I'm rooting for the fans who have been through the ringer for 20 months. I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for a lot of these players. Mike, the jury's still out, but this is, man, first impression-wise, you couldn't have knocked it out of the park more with the 2.0 existence of his tenure.
Yeah, and I think the area in which I see it really most obviously is in his demeanor. Like listening to him do the interview that I referenced on CBS, listening to the post-game victory interview on the field, listening to the post-game press conference afterwards, listening to his availability this week, listening to any of the things that he's gone on and talked to, or any of the people we've talked to since, he's been humbled. He certainly has been humbled. And I think it was an opportunity for him to kind of see big picture, take a step back, recognize, the things that are going to make him successful, the program successful, but also the things that led to that failure a year ago. And it's impressive. That's the right temperament and the right big picture understanding of where you stand in all of this. The program's bigger than you.
Yeah, well, there's also, yes, a greater distance in the language. It doesn't mean that you don't have the same passion, but...
Oh, right. I think you're allowed to have as much, if not more passion, because you can touch more aspects of the program.
But when you have a team owner speak versus a general manager versus a manager, right. Let's just say in baseball, It's an easiest way because the owners speak a lot in Major League Baseball. They get more stoic the higher you go up the line. The general manager needs to be a hell of a lot less emotional relative to the manager. And same thing from the team owners. Well, you see there are wins and there are losses. You've got to have that high level presence.
There are wins and there are losses.
I mean, owners are unbelievable. Like, well, are we doing fine at the gate? We want to see more fans at the ballpark. It would be a pleasure.
Nutting.
Right. I'm not looking for somebody who's so indifferent. They're just looking for the profits, but you get the point. I think he's presenting himself more in that way, which is a little less rah, and he's got more command.
I felt like he needed to turn down the rah-rah anyhow.
Yep. But it's one game down. Let's see how they manage the next couple in the ramp up to Miami.
Yeah. Well, there won't be a need for him to be over the top nuts for the next 2 games. Goodness gracious. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like this has got to be about that business this week and next and just kind of getting things worked out there, I would believe. I would hope. That's my thought there. I really can't figure out what I think they should do at quarterback this week. How long you leave Tommy out there. On the one hand, I want him to get a bunch of reps. I want him to get a bunch of reps in the passing game. I want that to come to life a little bit more, but I want that established first in the run game. So you got to do what is your identity, which is to run the football. But I don't want Tommy running the ball nearly as much as he did in the Alabama game. But then again, the offense is the offense, and that skill set is his skill set. That's why he was brought here. But yeah, I want to establish chroma. I want this offensive line, beat people up, continue to forge that identity, get those guys maybe to rotate a little bit more this week than last, obviously, and then all of a sudden throw it around the lot in the second half with a lead. I'm in on all that, but I do think it's weird how you arrived there because you got 2 weeks of this to kind of figure out and balance.
I think also it's like anything else. However you prioritize it, however you attack it, the efficiency with which they respond will give you a sliding scale how many drives you want them to be out there. If they go out, knock it out of the park, and they hit on the passing concepts that you want to see, or they hit on the straight ahead, let's not mess around that I want to see, if they nail it, then Gus will take him out a drive or two sooner because the scoreboard is going to reflect it. But if it's a little uneven, you might keep him out a little bit longer. I think there has to be a little bit of wait and see element to it about how good they look and how sharp they look.
You want a little THC or CBD, buddy? Which one you want here from our friends at Cornbread? You let me know.
The gummies.
Well, you can get both. I have.
You can? I didn't know that.
Cornbread gives them to you both. I have Cornbread THC gummies, and I have Cornbread CBD gummies.
Oh my!
I have them all. I'm going to go with the CBD gummies. That's what I'm going with. And you guys are going to save money if you go with the CBD gummies from our friends at Cornbread. I'll just tell you, things are a little crazy right now in a good way. But if you're looking for a more natural way to relieve aches and discomfort, maybe you want to sleep better, Cornbread Hemp, formulated to work with your body, not against it. Cornbread CBD gummies. It's a wellness plan, and it will knock you out at night. It's a beautiful thing. Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies made to help you feel better, whether it's stress, discomfort, need a little relaxation, whatever it might be. All products, third-party lab-tested, USDA organic to ensure safety and purity. Right now, Jeff Cameron Show listeners can save 30% on their first order. Just head to cornbreadhemp.com/Cameron. Use code Cameron at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/Cameron. Make sure you use the promo code Cameron.
Our local news now.
3 people are in stable condition at a local hospital. Seven months later, a man was shot and killed after allegedly trying to break into a home on the property. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Mechamore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at mechamoresystems.com.
Now, here's your Tallahassee weather report.
From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jillian Preddy. Temperatures are starting to rise through the 80s, and more of us will see those 90s today as we move throughout the afternoon. And today will be most likely the last day that some of us will be staying in the 80s. 90s are expected through the rest of the week, reaching the mid-90s by Friday, Saturday, but low rain chance stays in the forecast until around the Sunday, Monday mark. We introduce more moisture, increasing rain chances. From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jillian Preddy.
When you need the plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to wait?
Hey guys, we really need you over here. My toddler just flushed a whole bunch of toys down the toilet, and everything, and I mean everything, is backing up.
2 hours?
Hey guys, just checking in. The water has reached the hallway now, and it's getting pretty deep. Can you get here anytime soon?
4 hours?
Hey guys, can you please hurry? Now my wiener dog is doing the backstroke over here, and they're not known to be strong swimmers. Hey honey, grab his life jacket.
8 hours?
Oh, so now you're here.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. Our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. And now M&L Plumbing can also be your go-to for all septic tank pump-out services. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing. Your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or online at mnlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Tired of watching baseball score updates on your phone? Get off the bench and head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is your home for all MLB games in-state or nationwide. Enjoy the coldest drinks, Tallahassee's best wings, and watch your team in crystal clear comfort. And if you like to compete, come by Tuesday nights for CP Trivia and Thursday nights for Beer Bingo, where you can walk home with cold, hard cash. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Did you see the incident between Framber Valdez and his catcher, Cesar Salazar? Buddy, let me tell you, this is an ass beating in the middle of a game. There's no chance this doesn't get settled right then and there. I will explain what happened for those that don't know. Framber Valdez is a pitcher for the Astros. His catcher is Cesar Salazar, or at least in this particular game. So if you're watching the game, you can find this video anywhere. I happened to be watching as I flipped around last night watching baseball. This is interesting to me. I didn't catch it in real time, but a lot of people like John Boy Media and others pointed to it. They saw it, slowed it down, and went, wait a minute, that's not normal. Former pitcher for the A's, got the crazy hair. What's his name? That guy pitched the perfect game with his grandmother in attendance. Anyhow, he does podcasts about baseball. It's pretty good. A lot of them who slow things down and do the mouthing and all that, and what were they saying here to the umps and all that, they caught this, and you can find that footage. I just say that for you to find, but I'll set the stage for you. So Valdez is getting ready to pitch, and at the time, Trent Grisham for the Yankees is up. And this is in the era of, what's the tech called that's in your ear for the catcher and the pitcher where they can both hear it?
Yeah, PitchCom.
PitchCom. Okay, this is the era of PitchCom, right? So there's no reason that there should be a mistake. Everybody knows what's being called, right? So he waves it off. Whatever was called in PitchCom, whatever, he waves it off. He shakes his head. Does Valdez. He and Salazar are clearly not on the same page, and it's a crucial moment in the game. Salazar behind the plate motions for him to step off. He clearly wants him to come out. He's going to talk to him about, we got to get on the same page here. Valdez does not. He's disgusted and does not want to step off and decides, screw it. I've got a fastball that's in the upper 90s. I'm going to throw it. So I wanted to throw it anyhow. So he throws it, and it gets hit to the moon. It's a bomb, opposite field. So obviously Valdez is pissed and a little embarrassed. And Salazar, for his part, is looking out at him like, this is what we don't do, man. I told you to step off the mound. So they're both pissed off, right? All right, next batter comes to the plate. This is wrong. Whatever PitchCom is, it's an off-speed pitch because Salazar gets ready, and Valdez throws a fastball off his chest, crosses him up completely, and he gets hit, and he's hurt. And he kind of, you never see that from a catcher, right? And he eats it, picks up the ball, stands up, takes 2 steps towards the mound. This is crazy. These are teammates. Takes 2 steps to the mound with a disgusted look. And to his credit, Cesar Salazar deserves a lot of credit. He gives the Gus Malzahn exhale, stares back out at Framber Valdez, throws him the ball back, gives him another look, and then gets behind the plate and lets it go. So this got picked up. Eventually, obviously, the Yankees win this game 7-1. People began to ask about it after the game. Both players deflected. Framber Valdez has come out later today and said, yeah, sorry about that. I shouldn't have done it. We're fighting. We're fighting. You're going to throw 97 off my chest plate, about my upper shoulder, because you're pissed off after I told you to step off the mound, and you don't step off the mound, decide to pitch anyhow, give up a 3-run bomb, and it's my fault? No. We're going to have a problem when we get into the dugout. By the way, the home run made it 6-0. You're beat. This is over. We're going to have an issue on the steps. This is getting broken up.
Yeah, that's dangerous at that point. Because I mean, what if you cross him up and it's actually his neck, and he misses it because he's expecting breaking ball away and it hits him towards his neck?
I mean, it hits up. You see,
that's no good,
and you hear it too. You're like, buddy, we.
I just saw the clip the other day. It's making the rounds on the algorithm of the umpire, the giant umpire who got hit intentionally by the White Sox. Yeah. The best part of that, low key, is after he gets hit and he rolls the ball out there. No, he calls ball 2 like Frank Drebin did in Naked Gun.
Oh, yeah.
It's at 45 feet away from the mound.
Yeah.
Ball 2.
Ball 2. Like, he's a monster, too. That's not a guy you're going to fight. Yes. Yeah, he's a big man.
Well, I guess the manager was, too, for the White Sox, because once he gets chucked, he goes, "You think I'm afraid of you?"
Yeah.
That's a class one. I got to find that guy's name. But that dude did look like a starting guard for the Eagles.
He's a monster. And I do think his background, Tom, is that of somebody who did whoop ass. I remember, I think the announcer said something like, well, I don't think you want to mess with Big Frank. He played, like that kind of a thing. You're kind of like, well.
Here's the pitch. Ball 2.
But hey, that is one of the funniest things that goes on in Major League Baseball, which is that this happens where umpires get hit when pitchers and catchers just certain known commodity on that signal, and we're just, oopsie, right over the shoulder into your right arm, I see. Sorry about that. That'll hurt. No, Kev, I see you in there. Thanks for the contribution. I hope T. Lang has that Xbox headset, Red Solo Cup picture ready to go for this weekend. If not, here's his reminder. Yeah. Falcons, baby, let's go.
We'll give you a woo.
Well, he deserves
but not for the Falcons part.
No, not for the Falcons part.
Yeah, no,
I thought it was a 3-run bomb, Brown. Sorry, it was a grand slam, but man, we're having an issue here.
No, Kev, I had that queued up later, but I'm going to blame the Lagavulin and also the fact that we had a lot of generous people in the chat on the postgame show. But I did have it queued up, and we'll have it ready for the next go. So there you go. Put it up on the screen. That is a young me.
That is a young you. That's a young Bill.
That's not Bill. That guy's name is Ralph, actually.
He's 100% Bill, you liar. Look at that guy. That is Bill through and through.
That's the guy's Ralph. He played for Florida State.
What are you and Bill doing?
He played for Florida State hockey way back when.
Oh, man. Spartano wants Mike to pay the field rushing fine. I've gotten conflicting reports on what Florida State has to pay for the field rush.
It's $50K. What did you hear?
Yeah, there was a report that was $350,000, and I was like, no way.
No, I mean, national stories everywhere say $50,000. ESPN, it was the ACC's. I mean, that's well worth it. No problem. $50K. I know what you would say about the idea of rushing the field against Alabama when you are Florida State, but if you're just talking about the brand value of that camera shot, and also those kids who rushed on the field, much more likely now to become donors in the future because they have that moment.
Yeah.
That $50,000 is a nice investment. You're going to get some ROI on that.
Yeah, I don't think they were upset. I know that the administration had to have been really pleased with almost everything that happened on Saturday night, and I doubt their enthusiasm was dampened by a field storming after a 2-touchdown victory over Alabama, man. That is that's going to be a fine happily paid. I know there were a lot of people not nervous because I think they felt like they had it buttoned up, and I had my doubts, which I said before, but they passed the flying colors, deserve their credit. Man of my word, give them their credit. That's you root for it to happen. We wanted it to be a success. I was desperately hoping it would be, and it was. So they'll pay any fine.
It just occurred to me. Here's a little something about that photo of the Red Solo Cup and the coach's headset. That piece of paper I'm holding is the rundown from our old pregame shows from Langford.
Oh, that's funny.
That was 2009, I want to think. It was 2009. But that's the old rundowns that Millar used to give you and Lulu and me about the schedule for our pregame shows.
Laura was probably worried we were not going to adhere to them.
Yeah, he said they're not going to follow those. Just make sure you hit on these breaks at these times.
For his part, by the way, Valdez did apologize. Quote, what happened with us, we just got crossed up. I called for that pitch. I threw it, and we got crossed up. We went down to the dugout, and I excused myself with him, and I said sorry to him, and I take full responsibility for that. Valdez was then asked directly if he did it on purpose. It was not intentional. Nonsense. What are you apologizing for? Why'd you apologize? If it was just baseball and somebody didn't hear the call, then you're not apologizing for that.
That's got some Andy Pettit energy. I never cheated at all. I just wanted to get back sooner than my body would normally allow me to get back for my teammates.
Right.
Through what means? Well, I'm telling you, I didn't cheat.
Yeah, I'm letting you know.
I never used
Just
steroids.
trying to get back out there, yeah.
So as soon as I possibly could,
Probables, good sir. Cue it up. Let's do this thing.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Not going well, Tommy. You got a little word in the ninth there. Sorry about that. Mets, Tigers in the ninth.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
No, you've played well in the series. Clay Holmes going to wear the loss here, I think.
Yeah, and Ryan Helsley can wear a plane ticket to AAA after this game.
Casey Mize is going to get the win for the Tigers, as that game is 6-2 Detroit in the ninth. Marlins, Nats, Yuri Perez going for the Marlins today earlier. That game is also in the 8th inning. 8-5, Washington with the lead. Mitchell Parker started that game for the Nats. Just underway between the Rangers and the D-backs. Jack Gladder going for the Rangers. Zach Gallen going for the D-backs. Orioles, Padres, Cade Povich, Nestor Cortez. Blue Jays, Reds, Shane Bieber. Zach Gladder going for the Reds. Dodgers, Pirates. How about my Buccos? Slapping the Dodgers around last night.
Slapping the Dodgers.
Slappity-dappity. Told Clayton Kershaw to suck it.
Slapping the Dodgers, man.
It was a thing of beauty. Doubt we'll do it again tonight, but it was cool to see. Emmett Sheehan goes for the Dodgers. The Pirates will throw Braxton Ashcraft, who hasn't been bad.
Major League Baseball did release the 2026 schedule. The 3-game set for the Mets in Pittsburgh next year is in August.
Ooh, that's too early.
Second week of August.
Actually, it'll be nice in Pittsburgh second week of August. It'll be hot here, but nice there.
Yeah, I guess maybe I could do some of the press conference work for Florida State's camp from Pittsburgh. They don't let us in anyway, right?
We'll both be there. We're going back to the series. I mean, this has become an annual tradition now, Tom.
The other option was to go to Arizona because your team is playing one day, my team comes in the next. So we could do a trip out to golf in Arizona. So we got 2 choices.
I'm here for that discussion.
I think that's in May.
It's hot in Arizona, Tom. Golly. Fair. It's in May. Emmett Sheehan going tonight for the Dodgers. That'll be Braxton Ashcraft, which I said. Go for the Pirates. Guardians, Red Sox, Joey Cantillo, and Brennan Bernardino. You can do it, Jeff. Mariners, Rays, George Kirby, Adrian Hauser. We got the Angels in the Royals. Caden Dana going for the Angels, whoever the hell that is. Ryan Bergert going for the Royals. White Sox, Twins. Idris Gomez goes for the White Sox. The Twins will throw Zebby Matthews. Zebby Matthews. What did I say Zebby was last time?
I forget. Was he a music producer?
Yeah.
Was that him?
Yeah. I was produced by Zebby Matthews. That's true.
My palms are itching.
1974. Phillies, Brewers, Aaron Nola, Jose Quintana. Man, that creep can roll. Quintana, a 10-game winner this year with the Brewers. Helps to be on a good team, but he's been good, too, with a 3.69. Hey, now. Well, you'd give anything for Quintana to be in that rotation right about now.
God.
Same with me in Pittsburgh, where he was the year before.
We might win the World Series
Why
if we
are
had
people
Quintana.
just passing on Quintana? All he does is win.
Yeah, I know it.
Braves, Cubs, Bryce Elder, Cade Orton. Cade's their good young pitcher, and he is good. 9-4 with a 2.92. A's, Cardinals, Jeffrey Springs, Matthew Liberatore. Yankees, Astros, Will Warren, Jason Alexander. And finally, did you see the brawl, the pseudo brawl last night between the Giants and the Rockies? Nobody saw it. Did you see it?
Mm-mm.
Rafael Devers hit a home run relatively early in the game, very early in the game, in fact, and admired it for a little bit. But I think it looked more to me like he was trying to see if it was going to stay fair, so he's staying at home kind of with the lean. Took his time. By the time he got to first base, it was on. Both benches had cleared.
Well, I can imagine that Colorado's got thin patience for these matters anyway.
Yeah.
So the Giants, don't look out, or do look out for the Giants. If either the Mets or the Padres slip up a little bit, the Giants' final stretch is quite manageable. Got to be careful there.
Well, they're 70 and 69.
Yes, but they're playing the Rockies and the Cardinals.
Play the Rockies right now?
A combined, I think, 10 to 12 times before the season's over.
Could get hot at the right time. Robbie Ray!
Hey!
Going for the Giants, and German Marquez goes for the Rockies. That, my friends, is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Final story here. I had no idea this existed. You can keep the music running.
We got a quick request for a Glen Otto for old time's sake.
Good old Glen Otto. Is Glen Otto around?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm Glen Otto. Welcome to Glen Otto Realty. This weekend, you'll drive home happy with Glen Otto. Come to Glen Otto Mazda.
There you go, Garrett.
Final story. I appreciate the request for Glen Otto. Maybe the final two stories. Have you ever heard of Streamist?
No.
It's nothing bad.
Okay.
Well, it is bad in the sense that it got shut down. World's largest illegal sports streaming platform.
Oh, okay.
Streamist. Been shut down after a year-long investigation, according to a leading United States-based anti-piracy organization.
Is that you, Troy Knoll? He said he gets every game for free.
Could be Director Matthew. You better check on Director Matthew. He could be going to the Hooskow. The network of 80 unauthorized domains generated 1.6 billion combined visits over the last year, providing free access to global sports fixtures, including Europe's top football leagues and competitions such as the Premier League, Champions League, as well as the National Football League, the NBA, and Major League Baseball. The Alliance for Creativity and Entertainment, ACE, as it's known, a coalition of 50 media and entertainment organizations, including Amazon, Apple TV, Netflix, and Paramount, that any operation alongside Egyptian law enforcement officials took place on Sunday, August 24th to disrupt Streamist's dominant position in the illegal streaming market. I guarantee you everybody at FSU, FAMU, and TCC or TSC knows that what Streamist is.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Former intern Daniel says, some say I'm an ex-streamist. And so I believe that he was it's not for me since I think it was surfthechannel.net. It was some kind of website like that.
Surfthechannel.net. That sounds like you made it up.
No, it was like 13, 14 years ago.
That was surfthechannel.net. So Streamist is done, guys. For all you criminals out there taking in your illegal streams.
Oh, Stream East, apparently.
Oh, I call it Streamist. Shows how little I know.
Broward Knowles like, why is he saying it like that?
Why is he saying it that way?
Because he's not a pirate.
I don't steal my entertainment, sir.
In fact, you pay for 3 services at once, erroneously.
It's stupid. I get found out years later when I'm going through things. I'll be like, I'm still giving them $100 a month. That's ridiculous. Some guy like Fargo's going, he's still paying me.
What kind of accent do you have? It's strange. Most people say Stream East, but you say Streamist.
Streamist.
Is that some kind of Midwestern thing?
Mongolian.
Oh, Mongolian American.
Yeah. Lou Holtz is still alive, if you didn't know that.
Oh, they cut to him in the press box over the weekend.
Not good luck.
Yeah.
But for some reason, he still hates Ryan Day. 2 years after sparking a feud that drew the fiery rebuttal from Ryan Day. He of the I definitely dye my beard Day family. Said this about Ohio State's win over Texas. You remember me telling you I don't think Ohio State's a great football team, he said in an interview. I know their schedule's very, very good, but when you're at home and you're outgained by over 100 yards, you just can't look at it and say we're great. We won the game. They're 1-0, and that's the objective they had going into the game. But they're not a great football team. I'm not overwhelmed about Ohio State. Man, what is it with Ian?
Well, revisiting the Lee Corso talking point, nobody has a bad word to say about Lee Corso. Lou Holtz's reputation a little different. Just a little different. A little different. Just a little different.
A former head coach at Florida State had a interesting comment about
that is correct.
Lou Holtz one time.
Oh, I wish we still had that.
Well, I'm sure I have that audio somewhere.
it.
I'll never use it. It's not the right thing to do, but I mentioned
What's the statute of limitations on that clip.
Jimbo wouldn't be happy with me. I just remember reading or saying to him the quote and then him saying what he said.
It started with, I won't go into it, of course, respect here.
Yeah.
But yeah. Lou Holtz, and then da-da-da-da.
Yeah. No, it was. So, and, listen, Lou is criticized just about every coach under the sun these days. I mean, he also got into it with Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. Like, Lou, you've just become the guy, right, that everybody but you sucks. You were the only one.
Like he was something consistently great.
Right. Like, until, 88 was when he won it in Michigan.
That's where they cut to him in the booth, and it wasn't a flattering cut.
There is no flattering cut to be had for Lou Holtz these days.
It was jaw extended, and I was like, good, because I've heard that you're not a nice guy. So
the water was mounting.
It's okay if you could be old and still, if you were not a nice person, I don't care. That's good.
My guess is the darkness is creeping upon him, and I think he's 88. And he looks every bit of the 88, and it's not actually. He looks way older than 88, and that's kind of He's had a rough go here lately. I don't know. I'm not wishing any ill will. I'm just saying he's not a nice guy anymore. And when people have him on, they're doing it for that reason that we know that they're having him on. You know what the deal is. They're just going to serve the softball and let him go. That's why if you're a Holtz handler, you got to be like, all right, Dad, it's time to go.
Everybody calls him Dad.
Yeah, we're not.
All right, Dad.
We're not. Yeah, we're not doing this anymore. Like if you're a family member or my shoes are brown. We don't need that. Good work out of you. Thanks for listening, everybody. Be well. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow. Redemption Thursday with NFL picks to go with the college.
Wake up, Warchant, 6 p.m. tonight, Warchant TV.
Boom. Peace.